An injury crash 40 westbound near McCrory Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So here's the funny thing. Jackson thought that he was going to get the day off, and I said, no, that's not how this works, Pally. You get yourself on in here and work on a First Amendment Freestyle Friday like the rest of us. What is going on, everybody? My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There's young Jackson finishing up his first week as the illustrious temporary interim producer, soon to be erstwhile producer. You can look that one up later. Soon to be erstwhile producer of the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's going on, buddy?
Give me a definition before we continue.
It means gone. Soon to be fired, soon to be leaving, soon to be out of here, soon to be sayonara, adios, goodbye.
Already trying to get rid of me.
Well, you know, it's that volunteer shirt that's got me all beside myself.
Go Vols.
Yeah, go somewhere. Anyway, there's Jackson. He's controlling the experience. Listen to Ken Weaver back there in the news closet B. What's up, Weaver?
Oh, Boomer Sooner!
What's going on, my friend?
Just writing up news.
Uh-huh.
Looking at traffic and, really, I'm just going to be honest. I want to go home.
I'm ready for the weekend myself.
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
I want to go home.
I got a big week next week. I'm not thinking that much about the news. We're going to get it all for you in. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll do it.
If you're here for that stuff, you're going to get it. If you wants it, you gets it.
And I don't like it any more than you, man.
Before Matt takes his oxycodone vacation.
Yeah, well, maybe I might have started early. You never know. You never know. I figured out how much my surgery is going to cost me, which is nice. It's deductible, basically. You know what? I'm currently under the figure that I thought it would be.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, so far.
Good for you, Brother Murphy.
Yeah, but it was so much on the old credit card today that they declined lunch on the credit card because they thought that there was fraudulent activity.
Somebody had your card.
They thought somebody had my card and was charging $4,000 for surgery on it.
Mr. Murphy, it looks like somebody is spending an arm and a leg.
No, just an arm. Just an arm, not a leg, not yet. Anyway, hey, Miss Peggy, we gave Miss Peggy a shout out yesterday.
Yes, sir.
She was my pre-op nurse.
Yeah.
And I said, if anybody knows Miss Peggy, tell her how wonderful of a job that she did. I thought it was wonderful to meet somebody and associate with someone that seemed to really enjoy what she's doing. Mm-hmm. Somebody told her. She hit me up via an email and said, thank you for the kind words. And I was like, well, thank you for being as sweet as you were. And I'm going to get to see her again Monday morning.
Oh, really?
Which is nice. She's going to be, I guess she's my nurse,
well,
I suppose. So it's good to be nice to your nurse on the front end.
Oh.
And she'll be nice to you.
Yes, sir.
As the old phrase goes. So we've got a lot to get into today, boy. We're going to have a good time. We've got some nincompoops later on today. We've got FriJay officially at 4:05 this afternoon. So any legal questions, friends, get them in here. 615-737-9986, primarily on the super text line, and then we'll open up the phone lines at the appropriate time. We'll open up those phone lines always for you. Anytime I'm on the radio, the phone lines are open. I don't know if I'm doing that the right way or the wrong way, but it's the way that I've always done it because I absolutely love conversations with you. And I know some of you are going, Murphy, I listen to you, and you yell at callers a lot. I do. That's true. I don't suffer fools gladly, but that's not you. You're smart. So give us a call at 615-737-9986. Now, I would just as soon, as opposed to talk about, I don't know, Donald Trump on Iran, Donald Trump on Israel, Israel on Iran, Iran on Israel, I would prefer talking about Jaws myself.
Absolutely.
I mean, honestly. Because it is, I don't even think it's my top. I was trying to figure it out. It is certainly top 10, probably top 5.
Yes, sir.
Of all time for me. Every aspect of that movie is fabulous. And it is one of the more quotable films ever in cinema history. Jackson, well, he's on the phone. I was going to ask Jackson, young Jackson, who established that he was barely born in the 20th century, I should say. Barely made it in the 20th century. December 30th, 1999. I'll never forget it now. But I was going to ask him if he's ever. I think we've established that he saw the movie Jaws. Is it unfair to ask your favorite line from Jaws? That's probably unfair. If I had to pick one, it would be, you got city hands, Mr. Hooper. You've been counting money all your life.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a great line.
Mine is very obscure. All right, you remember when the mayor invited everybody to come out and hunt the shark down?
Yes.
And everybody's drunk. There's like 8 to 9 people per boat.
Uh-huh.
And Hooper, Richard Dreyfuss's character, is standing at the end of a dock, and he's asking directions to the police chief's office, and a guy said, "Straight ahead."
And then at some point, Hooper says, "They're all going to die."
But there's so many in that movie, man.
Oh, man. When the mayor says to Hooper, this one's a little more, he says, you yell barracuda. And people say, huh? What? But you yell shark. We've got ourselves a panic on the 4th of July. Oh, and then when they see the, I think I might need some help on this one. When they see the sign, the Amityville sign, which, fun fact.
Oh, yes.
They were not allowed to do any construction on Martha's Vineyard where they filmed the movie. The only thing that they constructed on Martha's Vineyard was Quint's shack, his shark house.
Really?
Other than that, they had to use existing structure. Well, they needed that sign, the shark sign, the Amity Island shark sign,
right,
which they were required to build and deconstruct in one day, which they did. But they put the shark fin on it, and the mayor says, "That's sick vandalism." That is. I'm going to say a curse word in this line, folks, because it doesn't work without the curse. Said, "That's sick vandalism. That's a deliberate mutilation of a public service message. Now, I want those little paint-happy bastards caught and hung up by the Buster Browns." Oh, it's so good. 50 years old today. 50.
I was 7 years old when that movie was out, Brother Murphy.
Oh, man. I was one and a half. The first summer blockbuster. And Steven Spielberg, like we were talking with Chad during the break, Steven Spielberg was in his 20s. He had done Sugarland Express, the one film he had done. Duel was a... Did you dump me, you jerk?
Can you say that?
I mean, I'm quoting somebody.
I'm here for your protection.
Jackson dumped me. I don't know. I don't know. Ken?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, Jackson. The grown-ups are going to talk for.
Okay.
I think I should feel good about that, right? Because he's out for me.
And, well, Brother Jackson is on it.
He's on top of it. I think, Jackson, I believe what I said falls in a gray area.
Something like earlier in the week. Remember that?
We won't revisit that one.
Oh, you don't want to?
That one wasn't gray at all. That's clear as day. That's Three Stooges, Bugs Bunny territory. This one, a little grayer, but I was quoting. I probably wouldn't say that on my own, but it loses something if you don't get the full impact of the quote.
The stream still heard it.
Well, y'all on the stream, y'all let me know if that's a naughty word or not. But anyway, Jaws is 50. I absolutely love the film, everything about it. I love all of the backstory as to how it came to be and the phenomena that it was. Jackson, you don't know life without the summer blockbuster.
Correct.
The summer blockbuster did not exist before Jaws. Jaws created the summer blockbuster film.
Great movie.
The first film to make over $100 million domestically. I think it's almost at $500 million now. And I am certain that on a variety of different platforms, you can find Jaws tonight. And friends, so many aspects of that movie are just dynamic and great. But as someone that dabbled in the acting field in my college days, and fashioned myself as an actor of stage and film. The USS Indianapolis monologue is one of the greatest monologues ever in cinema.
Yes.
And
I mean, man, you're just captivated. It's the ambiance, the fact that there's this giant shark swimming around out there trying to eat you.
they're bonding, right? They're bonding in the boat. They're
Yeah.
drinking in the boat. They're having a good time. They're comparing scars and
Right.
oh, you drink to my leg and I'll drink to your leg. We drink to our legs. And then the chief says, "What's that one?
Yeah.
That one there." That was the USS Indianapolis. Had that removed. And then he starts telling the story, man. And the amazing thing is that story is true. The USS
That did
Indianapolis, that happened.
That happened. Yes, sir.
And men were eaten by sharks and were driven crazy by dehydration and drinking salt water. But,
What a terrible way to go. Horrible way to go for those brave men.
I'll never wear a life jacket again.
When do you think the Jaws reboot talks get started?
Gosh, Jackson, I would love to say that it would never happen, but
You know it's going to happen one day.
Sadly.
Probably in the next 10 years.
They can't do it. I mean, they can try.
It wouldn't shock me if they announced one today. Spaceballs is getting rebooted.
no, that's a new one, though, isn't it? I thought Spaceballs was a...
At this point, it's a reboot.
You
If
think?
it's 30 years past,
I thought it was a sequel.
it is a sequel.
Did you hear what Mel Brooks always said the Spaceballs sequel was going to be called?
The Quest for More Money.
Yeah, Spaceballs 2, The Quest for More Money. Oh,
Mel
man.
Brooks, man.
Richard Jenney, if I can find, comedian Richard Jenney, who has now passed on, does a great riff on Jaws, right? Because he talks about staying up all night one night watching a Jaws marathon, and he goes through Jaws, and he talks about how awesome Jaws is. And then he talks about Jaws 2. And then he talks about Jaws 3 and Jaws 4. And once he gets to Jaws 4, it is, because Jaws 4 is the stupidest film.
There's a Jaws 4?
There's a Jaws 4, Ken.
Oh,
it's got
wow.
the original Mrs. Brody, but because Roy Scheider wouldn't do anything after number 2.
You're right.
And then they went to Jaws 3 was like Louis Gossett Jr.
And Dennis
Quaid. And then Jaws 4, it's Michael Caine and Ms. Brody. And Chief Brody has died. But the shark is now like after the family.
Oh, yeah. He's like Jason Voorhees.
Right, looking for revenge.
Yeah.
And so in order to get away from the shark, she leaves Amity Island and then goes to an island in the Bahamas. And she flies. So why don't you go to like Kansas, lady?
Yeah.
If you want to get away from a shark. But she goes to an island in the Bahamas. I guess her son's down there or something. And by the time she flies down there, guess who's already waiting on her? The shark.
Bruce.
So yeah, because and as Richard Jenney says in his comedy bit, because you see, in this fantasy world, shark is the fastest thing on planet Earth, faster than airplanes and trains, and it knows exactly where you're going. Anyway, it's very, very funny. Well, we'll pepper in some Jaws talk. If you've got any Jaws trivia or want to talk about Jaws, by all means, it's much more fun than talking about politics today. And of course, we'll obviously keep you up with what is going on in the news. The scene where you first meet Quint, where he scratches his fingernails across the chalkboard.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And his little assistant.
Oh, his little flunky.
Yeah.
You all know me. You know how I earn a living. I'm talking about sharking. No, I'm talking about pleasure boating.
I like the song he sang.
Oh no, he's when Hooper
When he's getting ready to when he was talking about the cage.
He goes. So you go in the cage. Cage goes in the water. Shark's in the water. Our shark, and that's the best. Shark's in the water. Our shark.
Our shark.
And he's farewell and adieu, the Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. That's awesome.
And then when he gets eaten, I mean, that scene, And that shark's got him all the way up to the chest,
Oh, my goodness.
taking him down in that water.
And the blood
I
spurting.
recreated that in the bathtub as a kid over and over and over again. And here's what's funny is I did it with a Captain Kirk action figure and a rubber shark.
Little Kenny Weaver.
I was playing Jaws in the bathtub. Yeah, I would do that.
Oh, no, Captain Kirk.
And what was great about my parents? They never made me get out of the tub. I didn't have a time limit on the tub.
No, man.
I'd be in there for hours.
All pruny.
All pruny and Jaws eating Captain Kirk. Although I made him Captain Quint.
The rule for me with my grandparents is that I couldn't reapply hot water.
That would have been something my grandparents would do,
No,
too.
that was the deal. Is that you can stay in there as long as you want, but don't put more hot water in the tub.
No,
that's all the warm you get. When
Yes,
it
sir.
cools off, when you get too cold, it's time to get out.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, I could talk about Jaws all day long. I absolutely love the movie.
What was cool about that little plastic shark I had is it was hollow, so I could stick Captain Kirk all the way in its
stick his
belly.
legs all in there?
Yeah.
I don't know. Was he Captain Kirk or he was kind of Quint at that
Well,
point?
I made him Captain Quint, but it was actually a little Captain Kirk.
It was a
action.
Captain Kirk guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I made him Quint. And at one point, I tried to draw blood on him, too. But it washed off in the tub.
Like that running down the sides of his mouth. Smile, you son of a bleep. That's the line. Smile, you son of. Did you ever see the MythBusters where they try to recreate that? It doesn't work.
It doesn't?
No.
You couldn't really do that?
No, compression tanks don't blow up like that. But it was a great. It was a great event.
Yeah.
A great explosion.
Yes, sir.
But they said that those tanks are designed not to blow up.
Oh, rats.
Yeah, it's all right. All right, Tony and Claudia and anybody else that wants to talk about Jaws for a minute or two, we'll do that. We got FriJay coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Get your questions in there. And, of course,
FriJay.
we will do all of the news that we need to do. It's going to be 2 weeks. Donald Trump says 2 weeks. As Ken Weaver said yesterday, and I've repeated this line to like 14 different people. I did 3 separate interviews on 3 different radio stations today because, I'll go anywhere and talk to anybody.
You will.
And I talked to Huntsville, talked to Chattanooga, and talked to Birmingham. And I used your line on all 3 of them.
Well, what?
that Donald Trump has decided that he will be deciding on all of this in 2 weeks. A decision has been made as to when the decision will be made.
President Trump has decided when he's going to decide what to do about Iran.
And it reminds me of the great line while we're talking about movie lines from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Well, isn't this place a geological oddity? 2 weeks away from everything.
Watch your language, sir. This is a public place.
I don't want fop. Bleepity bleep. I'm a dapper. Why did you do that for?
That was an accident. So my headphones are right next.
Jackson, you just need to get your little paws off the dump button.
They're right next to my headphones. I was reaching to adjust the volume.
I said bleepity bleep, and right when I said bleepity bleep, I saw the dump light go off. Jackson's got. You don't have marching orders from New Suit, do you?
No.
Clean up Murphy's language.
I'm sure that might be an email Monday.
I promise you, I won't curse at all Monday. Well, not on the radio.
Not on the radio.
Actually,
anyway.
what about Matt's medical moments?
That's true. That's
I can't
coming
wait
up.
for that.
That's coming up.
That is when Murphy's going to curse on the radio.
Yeah, I told Chris and I worked that out, so I'm going to send him some Murphy medical moments as I am under the knife and I am on the oxy. We'll see how that works out. I have no idea how that's going to work, but we'll figure it out. All right, we got to take a timeout. We'll get to your calls momentarily. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for U.S. Pest. You know, I can't promise you that J.K. and Erica Brister could take care of a shark problem in your home. My goodness gracious, they would know who to call. Maybe they could, though, because they can take care of just about everything else that's bugging you inside of your house. If it's a spider problem, stink bugs, ants, ladybugs, silverfish, roaches. No, you don't need roaches. They will take care of it. Plus, this time of year, a lot of folks are concerned about fleas and ticks in their yard. U.S. Pest can handle that as well. Common Tennessee pests are going to keep coming. That's the thing about these pests, man. They will keep coming if you let them. You need monthly pest control, monthly pest protection from U.S. Pest. And this is the time of year that you can't go without it. Call U.S. Pest today at 590-1260. That's 590-1260. Or go online and find out more at uspest.com. I recommend them. They are the one that I trust. I love to say J.K. and Erica Brister, they love the United States of America, and they hate bugs. uspest.com or 590-1260. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. Efficient Heating and Cooling wants to talk with you. You know, if your AC is not doing what it should do, you probably are feeling that this week, right? Because temperatures are getting up into the mid-90s, and the weather people love to talk to us about what the, quote, real feel is, and the, quote, real feel is over 100. Well, that means that your AC is working even harder than ever, and if your AC is not working properly, that can cause you issues when it comes to conditioning your air. Well, if you've got those issues, Efficient Heating and Cooling. Call Jeff Eddy if your AC is not ready and let him come out or send one of his incredible technicians out to solve your issues. He keeps his overhead down so you don't have to pay more than you have to. He doesn't charge you overtime at night or on the weekends because your AC doesn't know what time it is when it goes out. Jeff Eddy works for you, and he works to help you solve your AC problems without breaking the bank. Plus, when it comes time, there's financing available for a new AC unit. They're an Elite Pro partner with Rheem. 615-784-4424, 784-4424, or efficienthvac.net.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. And right now, President Trump disagreeing with his intelligence community.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong.
That's Trump speaking with the reporter in Morristown, New Jersey today on his way to Bedminster. Here's the whole exchange.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
Meanwhile, ABC News foreign correspondent Tom Sufi Burridge is in Geneva, where foreign ministers from France, Germany, Great Britain, and the EU are to have peace talks with Iran.
Iran has fired another barrage of missiles and drones at Israel. We know that they have hit the Israeli city of Haifa. In northern Israel. We are getting some numbers from an Israeli hospital, the Rambam hospital, which is buried deep underground where it treats casualties. They're now saying 12 wounded, 2 seriously in those attacks. No reports at this stage of any fatalities.
President Trump has said he'll decide what to do about Iran within 2 weeks. Here in Nashville, the reward for information leading to a hit-and-run arrest has grown substantially. Metro Police say the National Police Defense Foundation has put up $10,000 on top of up to $5,000 from Crime Stoppers for 32-year-old Tony Lopez Infante, an illegal immigrant police say was driving the car that struck Zachary Carriage in a crosswalk on Church Street earlier this month, seriously injuring Carriage. Today's the first day of summer, and it's going to be hot. And that prompted New York Democrat Governor Kathy Hochul to tell everyone what she thinks they should do.
The best way is to stay safe, to stay indoors with air conditioning. This is not the time to start training for the marathon, okay? Stay indoors. You'll get back on your normal schedules. Life will return, but this is a critically important week to be smart for you and your families.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Whites Creek. We've got an overturned vehicle, and it has Briley Parkway eastbound between exit 17 and exit 18 completely closed. The Gulch got a crash, off-ramp partially blocked, 40 eastbound off-ramp to Broad. And in Pegram, an injury crash reported by police, 40 westbound near McCrory Lane. Over at the Eastern Split, got some bridge work, off-ramp, right lane block, 40 downtown eastbound to 40 east, exit 213. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Alpha and Omega Computer Consultants. Michael and his team have been hard at it since 1998. A lot has changed in terms of your computer issues in your business since 1998. And Michael has been on the cutting edge, the leading edge of all of those technological changes with Alpha and Omega Computer Consultation. If you're in the medical field, as an example, compliance is critical. And Alpha and Omega understands that. They don't just help you meet HIPAA standards, they guarantee it. Their managed IT service ensures your systems are secure, your data protected, your compliance documented. In the financial world, data security isn't just important, it's everything. They protect you there as well. As a business owner, your time is incredibly important. When you have IT issues, you don't need a call center on some other side of the world working with you. You need somebody right here in Middle Tennessee, and that's what they guarantee at Alpha and Omega. Odds are, if you're a business owner, you're not in the business of computers. But here's the deal, folks. Alpha and Omega, they're on your team. They're on your side. Give them a call today at 615-784-0096, 784-0096, or ANO.net. That's ANO.net. Super Talk 99.7 WTN 37 after 3. Good afternoon. Happy Friday to you. FriJay coming up in less than 30 minutes. Jay St. Clair, our man with all of the answers from a legal perspective. We'll ask him about a couple of Supreme Court decisions that have come down over the last few days. And we'll also take your questions, 615-737-9986. Get those in on the Super Text line, or you can call in starting at about 4:05 this afternoon. Man, oh man, your response, the lines, I mean, it really is one of the more quotable movies in the history of cinema. I'd forgotten about I Got No Spit. That's a great.
Yeah.
I Got No Spit.
Yeah, that's when he was getting ready to go down in the cage.
That's right. I Got No Spit. And then somebody wrote in, and I'd forgotten about this, probably the best. Don't dump me, Jackson. I'm going to say a mild curse word. When you finally see the shark, and Hooper's trying to get photographs of it,
yeah.
and he's telling Chief, it's like, Brody, go to the bow of the boat, go to the bow of the boat. What are you talking? Go on out. I need you in the foreground for perspective. And Brody says, foreground my ass.
Well, yeah. The thing about Chief Brody is not only is he afraid of the shark, but he can't swim.
He hates the water.
He's terrified of water.
It's one of the most fabulous final lines in cinema. Most people forget. They remember "Smile, you son of a bleep."
Oh.
But the last line, you remember the last line of the movie, kid?
No.
The last line of the movie is Brody when they get the barrels and they're trying to get back into shore.
Yeah.
And Brody says, "I used to hate the water," and Hooper says, "I can't imagine why."
That's right.
I can't imagine why. Claudia is first up today. Hey, Claudia, how are you?
Good. I just have a funny story about my husband and I. He was 9 or 10 when Jaws came out, and I'm 6 years older than him, so I was 15 or 16. But his mother enjoyed telling everybody they lived in an apartment building. And she said Jeff was a fish in that water every day after school, all day in the summer until it was time for her to get him ready for bed. And after Jaws came out, she said when the shadows started coming over the pool, he was out of there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was a little too young for that, Claudia, but I've heard so many stories just like that one where, I mean, it psychologically impacted people. That's awesome.
Yes.
Well,
I like the movie, too. It was pretty cool back then.
That's pretty funny. Thank you for the call, Claudia.
Uh-huh.
All right, take care. No, a lot of people, man, they were impacted to the point where you couldn't get people in the water. I mean, you know, the poor mayor couldn't get people out of the beaches.
Yeah, man. I mean, they were going to lose a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to protect the community. Oh, amity, as you know, means friendship.
Yes, sir.
And it does. Of course.
Poor little Alex Kittner.
Was that his name?
Yeah, that little Kittner boy.
Oh, that's right. That's right. She comes up and smacks the mama smacks him right in the face.
Yeah, the chief. Whenever it was the mayor.
It was the mayor that did it. She's wrong, Martin. No, she's not wrong.
No.
Tony's next up in Chapel Hill. What's up, Tony?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing great, man. Hope you are.
Beautiful day today.
Gorgeous.
Hey, in 2001, I was pulling a TDY for my company up in Indianapolis, and I met a guy who was on the Indianapolis.
What?
Cool.
Yeah, I came down for breakfast, you know, in the little motel they put you up in whenever you're pulling TDY for a company. And there was a guy sitting over there, and he had one of those caps on that has the scrambled eggs on the bill, you know, and it had CA-35 on it. I know what CA-35 is. That was the Indianapolis. And I walked over to him and said, "Hey, man, do you know somebody who was on that boat?" And he looked, and I wear my daddy's dog tag from World War II. He was a Navy CB in World War II. And I was born on his birthday 10 years after the war. So I wear his dog tag. And he spied my dog tag, and he said, "So you know about what CA-35 is?" I said, "Yes, sir, I do." And he pushed the chair out with his foot, and he said, "Sit down, let me tell you a story." The man froze my blood, man.
Wow.
He literally
I bet.
froze my blood. I sat there for an hour, and he was a bosun's mate.
Yeah, bosun's mate.
Who had-
yeah.
Yeah, who had just blown shift change, watch change at midnight when the torpedoes hit. I think the way I may be a little bit off on that, but he had just blown watch change when the torpedoes hit, and that it split the Indianapolis pretty quick. It went down pretty quick. He crawled out a gun barrel to get away from the when a ship that size sinks, it'll suck you under, and if you're not even if you're not wounded, you're going to drown.
Right.
So he swam like hell to get away from it, and he was out there treading water, and there was fuel burning on the surface of the water, and people screaming and stuff. And he heard something break the surface of the water, and it was one of the little Grumman float planes that were on the ship that had broken loose and floated to the top. And he swam over to it, and he was hanging on to that for a while. And then it started to sink, and he popped out the little dinghy that was behind the open cockpit. And that popped out and auto-inflated, and he laid in that thing for 2 days listening to his buddies get just screaming.
Man.
I'm telling you.
A lot of the men that died, some of them died from shark attacks, obviously, and some of them died from their wounds. The numbers that Quint, and I've looked this up, and I think I'm right, the numbers that Quint relates in the movie are accurate. And
17 survived.
And how many did you say?
317.
Right, 317.
Out of a crew of almost 1,200.
But a lot of them, and I did a little, background research, a lot of them died from dehydration.
Yeah, because you can't drink salt water. That'll kill you.
And they did. And sadly, a lot of the men were so thirsty. There were stories that I've read that have been told that they were so thirsty, they knew they weren't supposed to drink the water, but some of them just did it anyway. And it drives you crazy.
Yeah.
Man.
And here's a real odd twist on that. My daddy was in the hospital when I was given the TDY. I didn't want to leave town because I knew Pop was in a bad way, and they told me, "What, are you a doctor? Get up there, get to work." And so I went up there, and when I got in the truck after talking to that man and go to the job site, my Nashville office called me and said, "Hey, we hate to tell you this, but your daddy just died."
Oh.
So my daddy, who was a World War II veteran, shot on Taro on Thanksgiving Day of 1943. He died while I was sitting there talking to that guy.
Wow.
I will never forget it.
Wow. That's crazy.
I'm wearing a dog tag right now, pal.
God bless you. Tony. Well,
thanks to you and your daddy.
That's right. Your daddy's never dead.
Yeah.
Your daddy's never. He lives right now on this radio station.
Yeah, he does.
In this radio call, brother.
Does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no sweat.
Love you, buddy.
You guys got
Thank
a
you,
great
man.
show.
All right. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's awesome. That's awesome. The backstory, USS Indianapolis, those men knew not to drink that water, but some of them became so desperate they did.
Sure.
And the stories were that it would make them delusional and out of their minds. There were stories out of the USS Indianapolis of men that swore that they saw ships in the distance, and they would start swimming toward after they had drank some of the water, and they would start swimming toward the ships, and the other men who had not would try to stop them, and they wouldn't stop. They just and they would just swim off to their deaths.
Man, it's terrible.
And they didn't. Their mission was so secret they didn't list them overdue for a week. As the story goes.
That's right.
615-737-9986. Tony is next up. What is up, Tony?
Not much. How about you, Reverend Matt?
What's going on, man?
Not much. I wanted to call and wish you the best for your surgery and get well soon. We'll miss you because I really enjoy your afternoons with us.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that, Tony. That's kind of you to say.
Not a problem. I saw the movie, The Indianapolis, and it was very heartbreaking with Nicolas Cage. It was a sight to see.
I've not seen. You recommend it?
Yes.
Okay.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah, I've not seen the film.
It, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And you guys talk about being old. I was 13 when Jaws came out,
How did it? How'd that affect you the next time you went to the beach there, Tony?
Well, growing up in Mississippi, we didn't go down to the beach much, but at the lakes, I kept my eyes open.
Yeah, well, you never know when you get one of those lake sharks after you.
It can happen. It can happen. Eat your whole leg off.
Yeah. Well, I saw it. I saw it in the movie.
Yeah, saw it in the movie.
Wow, that's awesome. I love it, Tony. Thank you for the call and thank you for the kind wishes. You're very kind. If you're just if you have been out of pocket, you've been in a hole somewhere and you don't know. I've got a surgery that's coming up. Today is the last day of my left shoulder's radio show.
Yeah.
No more left shoulder as of today. Final left shoulder broadcast happening right now as we speak. And I'm hopeful that they will let me bring the remnants of said left shoulder back with me after surgery.
Yeah, I want to see it.
I know. I do too. They do a little cross section. It's not the whole ball. It's kind of it's half of the ball, and they put titanium cap on the top of it.
Yeah.
And titanium.
That's what's on the space shuttle.
Oh yeah. I'm very excited, Ken. I want to schedule a flight like in the fall, just so when I beep, I can tell them. You know what I mean? Oh, that's my titanium shoulder. That's probably what's going on. What are you doing? Why are you stripping me? Why are you strip searching me, sir? That's my I've told you that's my titanium shoulder.
Oh.
There's no reason to look down there. That's not my shoulder. It's my shoulder that you're concerned about. Yeah, titanium right there in my shoulder. Like Ken said, same as on the space shuttle.
Yes, sir.
Pretty fancy.
Well, I guess what used to be the space shuttle.
Well, yeah. Maybe
There's one down there in Huntsville.
Oh, that's true. I bet there's some titanium on it, too. All right, 49 after the hour. I am likely to, because I'm not going to be able to help myself, as soon as I make sure that there are no curses in it, because I wouldn't want to freak Jackson out. Mr. Purity over there behind the glass. What did you call yourself, Jackson? You said that you may or may not be, when it comes to my potty mouth, you may or may not be.
I'm the MCU, the Murphy Containment Unit.
Murphy Containment Unit. He's the DMCU.
Yes, sir.
The designated Murphy Containment Unit.
Yes, sir.
But I will be out next week, and I will be broadcasting from home, fingers crossed, the week following. And Chris Hand, as Brother Ken Weaver would say, Brother Chris
Hand
is going to be in the afternoon hours, and then Brian Wilson makes a triumphant return, and he will settle in from 9 until noon. So Brian, 9 until noon, and that's some scheduling stuff for them. And then Chris will be on in the afternoon. And you will still get to hear my voice as you will have a Murphy medical moment.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
On a daily basis, as I'm going to call in and offer some random thoughts from Murphy.
I can't wait.
Or maybe random thoughts from Oxy, depending on. But if I clear the USS Indianapolis speech, it's about 5 minutes long. I think it's worth all of us listening to. I mean, I think it's worth hearing. 51 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Update and upgrade that diamond that you gave her years ago at Genesis Diamonds this summer. Men, I want to talk to you. If you've thought about a home run gift for the anniversary or the birthday that's coming up with a loved one in your life, did you know that right now at Genesis Diamonds, until the end of the month, now this doesn't happen for much longer, only about 10 more days on this, but until the end of the month, you have an insane offer. On approved credit, at Genesis Diamonds, you take any diamond in the store, any price point in the store, you divide by 60, and that's going to be your monthly payment. You're paying 0% interest on all of it, including the sales tax. So, $5,000 gift comes out to just $85 a month. That luxury pre-owned Rolex watch, ladies, maybe your fellas had an eye on a Rolex for a long time, $150 a month. It's an insane offer. All you have to do is divide by 60, and you have your price of your earring, your bracelet, your band, your colored gemstone jewelry, All of it. Buy now and pay nothing down and spread your payments over 5 years with zero interest. It can create a dynamic by which you can get that home run gift that she's going to remember, she's going to talk about for the rest of your lives. Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills and Cool Springs. Go by and see them. And when you do, tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Genesis Diamonds.
Lots of judges making rulings today. We'll run down them all coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Run them down and break them down with our man, Jay St. Clair. He's coming up with FriJay coming up in just moments on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Super Text line, very active. The YouTube chat, very active. We'd love to see you in both of those places. Perhaps go over to the YouTube chat and give us the old thumbs up, like, and subscribe if you go over to the YouTube side of things. Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Of course, we love seeing you on 99.7 FM or on any of our applications where we stream this radio show, like Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, and then we have our own. It is episode 835 of our gathering together on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Yeah, we are 100% in on the USS Indianapolis speech in honor of the 50th anniversary of Jaws. Oh, my goodness gracious. That's the thing about a doll's eyes, black eyes, lifeless eyes. Oh, no, he says black eyes, lifeless eyes, like a doll's eyes.
Yeah.
Until it bites India and those black eyes roll over white.
Yeah.
You hear that high-pitched screaming.
Yeah.
Ah!
I don't think Lee Marvin could have delivered that like Robert Shaw.
No. And the great story about it, and he was embarrassed and didn't like this story.
Really?
Because it was true that he was drunk in the scene, in the moment. The character had been drinking. And so Shaw was a drinker, and he showed up to the set half drunk.
To get in character.
To be in character, and couldn't remember his lines. And tried to do it, and they eventually just called it off because everybody realized he had been drinking. And it embarrassed him so much, he came back the next day, and he nailed it in one take.
Yep.
Which is awesome. All right, so more on that coming up. Your calls, of course, Bob and Larry and David and Mike and Ronnie. We appreciate you. We'll get to you, and we'll get to FriJay coming up in a moment. It's 4 o'clock. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers, big heads up this weekend in Nashville. The East Loop downtown is going to be closed starting tonight for paving work. It's not going to reopen until 5 o'clock Monday morning. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Lots of judges making rulings today. One that just came down blocks a Louisiana law requiring the 10 Commandments be posted in all public school classrooms. Then there is this. Harvard University on Friday notched another legal victory against the Trump administration.
Amid multiple attacks from the Trump administration, like funding cuts and executive actions to limit its students from coming into the United States, Harvard University on Friday secured a federal injunction that allows the school to continue enrolling international students. It's a brief reprieve for the thousands of international students who've been thrown into uncertainty since the Trump administration began its crackdown at the country's oldest university. Trump has said he'd like the school to cap the number of international students at Harvard to 15% of its overall student body. Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
President Trump asked a question today about intelligence that may or may not show Iran is close to having a nuclear weapon. Here's how that exchange went.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
Trump has set a 2-week timeline to let diplomacy play out. He actually said within 2 weeks. Foreign ministers from France, Germany, Great Britain, and the EU are in Geneva for peace talks with Iran's foreign minister. Here's ABC News foreign correspondent Tom Sufi-Burridge. He's in Geneva, too.
I don't think anyone's under any illusions right now that the Europeans are suddenly going to extract major concessions from the Iranians, which up to now they haven't been willing to do, and suddenly there could be a deal. And I think we're even getting ahead of ourselves if we start to talk about a potential winding down of Israel's war against Iran. I think what the Europeans are trying to do is take the temperature down. They want diplomacy to be firmly back on the agenda.
Here in Nashville, Metro Police say the reward has grown substantially for information leading to the arrest of a hit-and-run driver. $10,000 from the National Police Defense Foundation on top of the up to $5,000 Crime Stoppers reward. The suspect is 32-year-old Tony Lopez Infante. Police say he was in the country illegally and behind the wheel of the car you've seen on social media, flipping 21-year-old Zachary Karich into the air. He lands hard on the street below as he was in the crosswalk on Church Street when he was run over. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. North Nashville got a crash off on the right shoulder now. Briley Parkway eastbound between Dickerson Pike and exit 16B. All lanes now open, but you got to get over for that crash. And in the Gulch, a crash off-ramp partially blocked. 40 eastbound off-ramp to Broad. South side got 40 westbound at Hermitage Avenue, reported by police there. Then at the eastern split, some bridge work off-ramp. Right lane block, 40 downtown eastbound off-ramp to I-40 east there at exit 213. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, kids, here we go. Hour number 2, the Matt Murphy Radio Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Our first hour of the show got taken over by a shark. That's okay. We enjoyed it, and I hope you did as well. It is the final show of My Left Shoulder. We're very excited about giving My Left Shoulder the send-off that My Left Shoulder deserves. We'll also tell you what's going on in the news. I heard a report, and I've not confirmed it, about a quote-unquote earthquake in Iran. I wouldn't think that that would be an earthquake in Iran. I would think that would be, some sort of bombs going off in Iran, but I'm going to try to confirm that if at all possible. Donald Trump says 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Don't worry about it. Is this place a geological oddity? 2 weeks away from everything. We've got Donald Trump And the National Guard, big victory for him there. Well, a temporary victory at least, as the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals says, yes, of course, the President of the United States can nationalize the National Guard, and they remain under his power and control until we make a full determination as to the details of the Gavin Newsom California complaint against the President of the United States. All of that is on the docket today. But you know what? The most important thing that we're talking about today, more important than anything, is...
I didn't agree to that. Only 24 hours.
Just before we say hello to Jay and FriJay, before we go, see, Jackson, you need to rewatch this movie. This is our introduction to the best character in this film, the best character in the movie.
You all know me, know how I earn a living. I'll catch this bird for you, but it ain't gonna be easy. Bad fish. Not like going down the pond chasing bluegills or tommycods.
Eating those crackers.
Swallow you whole. Shaking, tenderizing, down you go. And we gotta do it quick. That'll bring back the tourists. That'll put all your businesses on a paying basis. But it's not gonna be pleasant. I value my neck a lot more than $3,000, Chief. I'll find him for 3, but I'll catch him and kill him
for 10.
And you gotta make up your minds. You wanna stay alive and ante up? You wanna play it cheap? Be on welfare the whole winter. I don't want no volunteers. I don't want no mates. There's too many captains on this island. $10,000 for me by myself. For that, you get the head, the tail, the whole damn thing.
That's so good. That's your introduction to Quint. They say, Mr. Quint, we'll take it under advisement.
Yeah.
And that's when he walks out and the little fella walks right behind him.
That's right.
With the dog. Oh, man. 50 years ago, that movie came out in theaters. In the meantime, let's find out if Jay saw that in the theater.
Yes,
Who knows? It's time for FriJay, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, Americans. It's FriJay.
That's right. It is time. It's not morning, but it is time for FriJay. 10 minutes after 4 o'clock. It's our opportunity to talk the law with my best friend, a good Tennessee man, the best legal mind that I've ever known, a pretty darn good golfer, and my gambling buddy. His name's Jay St. Clair, and he joins us. Hey, Jay.
Hey, man.
Jay, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Well, I got 2 questions for you. I just thought of another one. The first one is, how you doing?
This is a toughie. It's a toss-up. But if I were any better, I would be Daniel Suarez.
Oh, that's good.
What a great story. Just a wonderful story.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, and you know what makes it even sweeter? Well, I mean, just to complete the whole story, did you see the video and whatnot he put out when he became a United States citizen?
I did.
It was heartwarming.
Yes, it was.
Very, very heartwarming.
I mean, he's from Mexico, but he loves the United States of America. But, you can't take home away from him. And for those that don't know, the NASCAR race was down in Mexico City this past weekend. And Daniel Suarez, who is a native of, I think, Monterrey, Mexico.
That's right.
If I'm not
about
mistaken,
90 miles north of Mexico City.
Won the Xfinity race.
And in a backup car.
Oh, yeah.
Starting last.
Oh, good for him, man.
He had to go to a backup car. He started dead last and won the race.
That's pretty good.
No, it was great. It's absolutely great.
Who was the toss-up with, though? That's the question.
Well, SVG.
Oh, well, yeah.
Who won Sunday by the largest margin of victory in 25 years.
He was like 15 or so seconds ahead, wasn't he?
And that just shows what real race car drivers are. We've talked about this. I'm not a real race car driver because I can't do this. The first race he won, the Chicago, well, that's the first time they'd ever raced on that track.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't have an advantage. Well, the same thing here. It's blind track. None of them have driven on him, and he goes out and beats the field by 15 seconds.
Oh yeah. Oh, he is such a wheelman and knows how to drive road courses. I mean, I don't even pretend to understand what he does because you know what? I listen to the best race car drivers in the world, and they say they're not quite understanding what he's doing better than
Well,
them.
I know one thing he does because the TV people are talking about it. He's the only guy out there apparently that's heel toe shifting, and they say it gives him a big advantage.
Really?
And I worked for years to learn to do that. I now can do it. Well, you've been with me on track, and I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he's the only guy that's doing it.
Huh. I didn't realize that. That's cool.
Yep.
Well, Jay, it's good to talk to you. I feel like I haven't seen you in a month of Sundays. Do you have any final words for my left shoulder?
I don't think so. It's been nice knowing you, but every dog has his day. And so, sometimes you just gotta take one for the team, man. And I know you've been in pain, and it's just time to make a switch.
Time to do it. I've got to come up with a new excuse why I'm so bad at golf, Jay. That's the big problem.
Well, I guess you won't be playing for a while.
No, not for a minute or two. Although he said probably 6 months. About 6 months. I was worried it was going to be longer than that, but my main concern is, for the last 15 years, anytime I've had a bad round, I was that left shoulder. Dadgum left shoulder.
Yeah, that excuse is gone. Well, see, my excuse is age. I don't have to worry about that going away.
Well,
that only gets to be a better excuse.
You know what? I've said it enough. You know what Pa said? Getting old's hell, but it beats option B.
No, it's better than plan B.
That's right. TB says, why don't y'all talk about your boy Carson Hocevar? Look, Carson, he owned up to what he said. And
no, I respected that. And he's learning a lot this year, a lot. And he learned a very big lesson. Well, who else learned a lesson, similar kind of lessons? Kyle Larson.
Oh, sure.
I mean, Kyle Larson got run out of the sport.
Yeah.
Because of something he said.
Right.
And he wasn't 23 years old when he said it. So no, I think that was a good thing for Carson. He's a real talent. I mean, I've heard Kevin Harvick and a lot of these guys, juniors, say he has got the talent. He's just got to learn how to use it.
So, for those that don't know or don't follow the sport, Carson Hocevar, he's not a rookie. He was a rookie last year, right? Do I have that right?
But he's first, second year.
Yeah,
but he's
right.
23 years old.
Yeah, he's a youngster.
And he's a hot foot. I mean, he is a race car.
Well, and every single one of them think that they're the best race car driver on the track. I mean, or at least that's what they want to believe. They probably all secretly know that Kyle Larson's the best race car driver on the track, but whatever.
A lot of them are saying it now.
But he called Mexico or Mexico City a bleep hole, I guess.
Yeah.
In conversation before he got down there, and I mean that's just you know what? Even if you think it, you don't say stuff like that.
That's a rookie error.
Yeah,
no, that's a rookie error.
And he apologized for it. So, Jay, any thoughts, generally speaking, on? I mean, it's a Supreme Court decision season. I mean, don't we love it?
Yep.
Any surprises?
No, not really. The Tennessee case didn't surprise me at all. I thought they got that just right. It's going to be an important case beyond just that case, Matt, because it establishes the principle that transgender is not a protected category.
Mm-hmm.
And that's big in a lot of other stuff. It's not like race, sex, age, those sorts of things. And so now that didn't surprise me. And, as far as Trump versus the Dems goes, I would say, Trump's maybe got it's maybe 21-17 at halftime on court cases. 21. Well,
I
would put Trump. I put Trump up 21. This latest thing about the National Guard that was a biggie.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a strong. I mean, if you feel like I guess it was a 3-judge panel on the Ninth Circuit, but I mean, you feel like that doesn't tell you how it's going to go, but it can give you a lean. Is that fair?
That's it's a strong lean.
Okay.
Because to rule in his favor at this stage of the case, they have to say that there is a very great likelihood he's going to win the case.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's what they've said is there's a very great likelihood he's going to win the case. I don't think that's going to happen on birthright citizenship. I think they're going to lose that.
Yeah.
Of the tariff deal, I don't know how all that's going to shake out. On the kicking the illegals out, that was kind of a little bit of a tennis match. They've got to dot their I's and cross their T's a little bit better in how they're doing that.
Right.
But yeah, I would say right now, and I'd call it about halftime right now in terms of the Trump agenda being challenged in court. I'd say we're about halftime on that, and I'd say Trump's up 21-17.
As you talk, Jay, it occurs to me, and you and I have had so many conversations about, how, you're the one that taught me the phrase that the 21st century certainly hadn't turned out the way I thought it would.
Right.
You're the first one that I've ever heard say that.
Well, I stole that from Glenn Reynolds.
Well,
Instapundit.
Oh yeah, yeah, I get it. Oh yeah, I didn't realize. Okay, all right, that makes sense. But
yeah,
no,
Glenn was a year behind me in college, a year behind me in law school, and a year behind me clerking for Judge Merritt in Nashville.
Oh, cool.
I've known Glenn a long time.
Well, I mean, and you're right, but one of the things that we have lost, we've just lost patience, and I understand the frustration that so many people had about local, district judges in federal court making and I might have said that wrong, I don't know, but making these decisions and then applying them across the country. There's been a lot of frustration. And just generally speaking, a lot of frustration with how, at least the perception is, that the liberals have used the courts to stymie what is clearly what most Americans voted for, right, last November. People feel like, well, we voted for this. What right do they have to stymie it? And we're seeing a lot fewer of those come up in the court systems now, and we're seeing the shakeout. If we just be a little patient and understand the process is not always as clean as we would like, but these things are going to shake out in the fashion that they should.
Yeah, and not as quick. But let me say this about that, Matt. That's not an accident. That's by design.
Mm-hmm.
The founding fathers very intentionally built the government, the separation of powers. Well, it was done so that it could not turn on a dime. So that's all very intentional. We can get frustrated about it, but that's not a flaw in the system.
Well,
that's a feature of the system.
I love the way you say it. It's a feature, not a flaw. And I mean, and it's funny how perception becomes reality, because on one side we're thinking, man, y'all stop all these silly court cases so we can get the ball rolling on these things that we want to happen. And because you're holding up the program here, people. Donald Trump can't do these things until we get it through this court system. And on the other side, they're screaming about Donald Trump being a king. And I'm like, well, if he was first off, if he was a king, I don't think y'all would be able to scream and yell about him being a king. I think he'd lock you up.
He wouldn't be, and he wouldn't be losing court cases.
And he wouldn't be losing court cases.
And he's so funny. I don't know if it's hard to tell real from fake now, but he's so funny. But I saw something on social media. I don't know if it was a post from him or not, but he was thanking the No Kings people, because he said, I heard that apparently somebody was trying to make a king. And I'm glad y'all stopped that. I'm still president, so everything's fine.
Right. Yeah. I'm still your president. I think he said your president. He knows how to gig them.
Oh, he's funny.
All right, get your questions in here for Jay St. Clair. How much is this legal advice worth today, Jay?
Well, free legal advice is worth Hey, Ken, do you know what free legal advice is worth?
Absolutely. You've got me, Brother Jay.
Well, it's worth exactly what you pay for it, Ken.
I was trying to think of that and I couldn't. I almost had a crayon.
You got close.
Hey, we've got our brand new producers in the house, Jackson. And Jackson asked me earlier, he said, can I ask Jay if I can sue somebody? Jackson, do you know the answer? Ask him the question, Jay.
Ask Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson, do you know what?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Jackson, do you know what it takes to sue somebody? Do you know what you got to have? Do you know what you got to have to sue somebody?
No, sir.
Well, you better write this down, Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
You need two things: $140 and a crayon. That's all you need. You can sue Donald Trump
Can
for
I
being
borrow
king.
a crayon?
No, you got to have your own crayon. I'll loan you the money, but you got to use your own crayon.
That's well spoken. That's spoken just like a 25-year-old. Jackson, you need $140 a crayon. Can I borrow a crayon? All right. More with Jay in a moment. Your call's coming up 23 after the hour on Super Talk. Friends, when you head down 4th Avenue South, you'll see the Nashville Safe House right there. If you're headed, I guess you see the City Cemetery on the right, you'll see Nashville Safe House on the left, right across the street from City Cemetery. Go in and say hello to Mark and his team. They love saying hello to Matt Murphy Show listeners, and I love you going by and perusing the incredible selection of safes. People don't believe me when I tell you that they have as many safes as you'll ever find, and I challenge you to tell me a safe company that stores more safes, that has more safes in stock and in their showroom and in their warehouse than Nashville Safe House. Why do they store so many? Why do they have so many? Because they want to make sure they have the safe that you need when you need it right now. You don't have to wait for delivery. You don't have to wait until they get it in stock. They can get it to you jiffy quick right now. They use their own professional delivery crews. That means that no third-party unknown people are inside of your house doing Lord knows what. I mean, I'm just telling you, sadly, a lot of people use these third parties. They don't know who's in your house. You always know at Nashville Safe House. And they have all of the brands and the incredible selection that you're looking for. Price points galore. They've got Browning. They've got Fort Knox. They've got Superior. All of the name brands that you know and love. Plus, gun safes are sales tax free at Nashville Safe House. Go to NashvilleSafeHouse.com or across the street from City Cemetery on 4th Avenue South. Tell them Murphy sent you. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for the one and only Glock store. You've heard me talking about the Glock store quite a bit, right? And you've heard me talking about Glocks. Well, I love Glocks and have for a long time, and I've been a proud Glock owner for many, many years. And there's a few reasons why Glock store is the greatest store that I've ever been in when it comes to Glocks. Number one, they carry all of them, all of the Glocks, factory and custom. They've got the PBGs. You know what that stands for? Plain black Glocks. You know what I'm talking about. I've got several of those. I've got a 20. I've got a Glock 19. I've got a Glock 43. Anyway, enough about my Glocks. Let's talk about your future Glocks. They've also got factory colored Glocks, competition-ready race Glocks, rare and discontinued collectible Glocks, beautiful custom Glocks, and the wildly popular Trump Glocks. Folks, I've never seen the number of customized Glocks that they have as they have at the Glock store. Optics and upgraded triggers, extended controls, the lowest prices on Glock magazines in the entire country. Basically, if it's a Glock for a Glock, they have it in stock with all of the options. If you've never been to the Glock store or never shot a Glock, here's a great thing to do. A 10-round test pack of 9mm ammo for only $6.99, and they'll let you test fire any Glock in the rental department. How about that? Any Glock in the rental department. It'll cost you $6.99 to test fire a 10-round test pack so you can shoot before you buy. That's my friends at the Glock store, minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere.
I got it. Lawmaker threats, Tennessee arrest made, and hope for diplomacy. Coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is just at 29 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're with Jay St. Clair. It is the midst of FriJay. Questions are coming on the super text line. Questions coming up on the phone lines as well. We only have about a minute before Ken's newscast, but I think this is a great question to ask in that minute because I love the fact that somebody asked this question. We got a question from Duffy, Jay, and Duffy wants to know, what is heel toe shifting?
Well, it's a very difficult technique where when you're downshifting, say from fourth to third, you want to rev match the engine to the third gear, right? Because if you just downshifted it quickly, the engine would rev up and it would upset the car. So what you do is you use one foot to press both pedals. You're pressing both the brake pedal and the accelerator with your right foot, and you're using your left foot to use the clutch. So you got 2 feet, but you have 3 pedals. And you have to work all 3 pedals to make a downshift proper. And so that's what heel toe shift is.
Right. I mean, and I've never driven a race car, although Jay tried to get me in behind his, and I was scared that I was going to wreck it. So, but it makes sense. I mean, if you've ever driven a stick shift, right? I mean, you go from fourth to third. When you pop the clutch, the engine revs up because you're in third gear now. I mean, it's a different gear, and you don't want that to happen when
it also locks up the tires.
Yeah. Okay.
You're at real speed.
Right. And so you avoid that by getting that engine back. And that just it just sounds like it takes just some nuance. You need to know all the muscles in your feet.
Right. Well, it's not only the position of the feet, but it's also the timing. You have to get the timing right because you have to. You're braking and then you're shifting, and now you're going to let off the clutch. But that's where you got to bleep. That's what they call it. Bleep the accelerator, and then pop the clutch. So you bleep the accelerator about about 0.23 seconds before you release the clutch.
Wow.
It's that close. It's tenths of seconds.
Well, and SGV is the one man that's doing that on the track, and that is those abilities are that's what creates the dynamic by which you win by 15 seconds.
Yeah, well, it's a lost art. I mean, everybody used to do it, but now these Jericho transmissions, you really don't even have to use the clutch.
Right.
But it slows the car down.
Jay is back with the answers to your questions for Jonathan, for Larry, and for all of you on the Super Text line. That's coming up after news on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Lawmakers at local, state, and federal levels fearful as rhetoric gets real with threats of violence. ABC senior investigative reporter Olivia Rubin reports on the frightening moments at the home of Memphis Mayor Paul Young.
The mayor allegedly seeing him through a Ring camera video, thinking he was suspicious, not opening the door. Police allegedly later finding items with the suspect in his car, including gloves, duct tape, and rope. He's, of course, been arrested and made his first appearance in court, not entering a plea.
Trenton Abston in custody in Memphis, now facing those charges. The 25-year-old appearing to be planning to kidnap Memphis Mayor Paul Young. Talks have adjourned for the day in Geneva, Switzerland, as European leaders hope to convince Iranian diplomats to reach a diplomatic resolution that would prevent Iran from developing its nuclear weapons program. ABC's foreign correspondent Tom Sufi-Burridge tells us what could make that happen.
I don't think we were expecting to get a major breakthrough in these talks, but I think that is the most crucial line at this hour coming out from the Iranians, saying that they are willing to engage in diplomacy if Israel halts its attacks. And on the ground in Iran, we're seeing absolutely no signal that the Israelis are willing to do that.
Yeah, listen to President Trump answer a reporter's question about Iran and nuclear weapons today.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
Lots of federal judges dishing out rulings today, one of them ordering the Trump administration to grant the release of Mahmoud Khalil. That's the Columbia University grad student accused of endangering Jewish students by organizing pro-Palestinian rallies. He's been held in a Louisiana detention facility for more than 3 months. So even though this federal judge says release him, an immigration judge in Louisiana says nope. He's going to remain detained. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Yeah, that brake tapping well underway around the loop downtown if you're trying to get somewhere. It is particularly heavy eastbound 40 on the south loop. Also eastbound, that is going to be the east loop downtown. Then northbound 65 starting to build like it usually does to try to get to the south loop. And then eastbound 440. A lot of red there over to 24. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for USS, which stands for United Structural Systems. Let's talk about your home. If you own your home and have been there for a while, have you noticed settlement? Now, some of that is normal, and USS, their experts can come to your home and they can explain the difference between a settling foundation that's normal in its nature and one that isn't normal. And when you have abnormalities in your settling process, that can create cracks and fissures. That can create waterproofing issues. It can create damage in your home. You need experts if you're unsure. That expertise comes from USS. Since 1994, they've been guaranteeing their best at USS. They've been keeping homes stable and dry for that length of time. Almost 30,000 satisfied customers at USS over the last 30-plus years. Homeowners simply trust USS, and why not? They're the best. Give them a call today at 615-488-7855 and get peace of mind. That's 488-7855 or online at USSTN.com. As promised, getting back to some of your telephone calls on the Super Text line as well as on the phone lines. It is FriJay, 39 minutes after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Too many comments on the heel-toe shifting to really get into all of them, but a lot of people are saying it's similar to the way that you shift semis. I don't know anything about that. It's called double clutching on a semi.
No, that's something different. That's different.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, no, double clutching is where you go. Let's say you're going from fourth to third. You go to fourth to neutral, and then you let off the clutch, and then you go to third.
Right.
That's double clutching, and it serves the same purpose, that is to rev match the gear to the engine, but it's very slow.
Right.
I mean, that takes seconds to execute.
Yeah, it can't. You don't have seconds.
No, you got tenths of seconds. So no, heel toe shifting is. I know what double clutching, and it serves the same purpose, but one of them is for race car drivers, and then the other is for street cars.
So at 5,900, I'm just going to read you this because I think you'll get a kick out of it. It says, or Jay, you could just buy a car with active rev match.
He does not know I put an active rev match.
He does not.
Device on the aftermarket, and it was crap. No, I refuse to do that. You're right. I mean, all the well, see, that's why everybody's lost the art to heel toe shift.
Right.
Because all these $200,000 Porsches I'm out racing against, it's got built-in rev match.
Mm-hmm.
No, my 2002, 2004 Corvette does not have a built-in rev match, and I bought an aftermarket unit and put on it, and I took it off. And I said, no, I'm going to learn to do this.
And I don't know if this is the case or not, but 7142 says Rusty Wallace was one of the best at heel toe.
No, he was.
Okay.
Absolutely was.
There you go.
And I'll tell you, another one's Ricky Rudd. They got this old video. They had foot cams because they were so good at it. And, yeah, that generation of race car drivers knew how to heel toe shift.
I have a question for Jay. No, this is silly. Why do Tennessee fans love sandwiches? Because they love everything in bread. Jay, I need to pre-read these before I put them on the radio. Let's get to Jonathan, who has a legit question for Jay St. Clair. Jonathan, you're up with Jay. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
I'm good.
Sorry. Hey, I got a friend. She had, we'll call it a botched surgery back in 22 and has just had lingering issues ever since. And recently it's kind of even gotten worse. Now, I know there's a lot of protection and things like that for the doctors, but in this case, this provider has lost their license, not because of this specific case, but just due to other circumstances.
Right. What's your question, Jonathan? What's your question?
My question is it worth to go? That her life has drastically changed.
Yeah, absolutely. She needs to go talk to Jonathan. She needs to go see a very highly qualified medical malpractice attorney immediately. That's a very high level specialty. Don't get somebody off TV. You need to get, and I tell you, if you don't know anybody in the Nashville area, I'm going to give you the name of a lawyer. He's in Alabama. He can connect you up there. David Marsh, Marsh. You can find him on the internet. David is one of the best lawyers in the United States of America.
There you go.
That's the level of lawyer that you want to be talking to, Jonathan. And so I'd get in touch with David Monday. And you can be looking in the Nashville area, the Tennessee area. But no, don't wait because statutes of limitations are running.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jonathan. Always appreciate those types of calls. 615-737-9986. Question for Jay. My father's estate is in the second month of probate. My attorney said probate was 4 months. My question is, can I persuade my attorney to speed things along?
Well, I wouldn't have promised that it was going to be 4 months because there is no set period of time that it takes to probate in the state. So you'll be lucky if it gets done in 4 months. But yeah, you can talk to the lawyer and say that, we'd like to get this done quicker. Anything we can do to get this done quicker, please let me know. But there is no established timeline for closing in the state. Some lawyers work quicker than others. And if Dane will tell him you pay him a little bit more money if he can get it closed quicker. But 4 months is not long.
No. So 8512 says, I have a medical claim question. You have surgery in 2023. Insurance pays their part. You pay your part. Case closed. 2 years later, an auditor says the insurance company paid too much for the anesthesiologist. So the anesthesiologist sends an invoice to the customer, which is on. Can the anesthesiologist go back 2 years and send you a bill even though your claim has been processed 100%?
Yeah, the 2 years is not a problem. Statute of limitations on that is going to be more like about 6 years. So, yeah, they can correct an error 2 years later. If it really is an error, and you have to look at your insurance policy and see, what it says you're supposed to pay. But if an error was made, they can correct it. If an error was not made, then they can't correct it. But the statute of limitations has not expired on that claim.
I'm very curious how much anesthesia costs for surgery, Jay, because I made I won't get into that, but I made a guess about how much I was going to have to pay out of pocket for this surgery, right? How much, my contribution would be outside of insurance. And I think
you were way low.
Well, no, I'm pretty good so far, but but I'm gonna have my anesthesiologist is gonna have to come in pretty cheap.
Well, so what's your guess for the total cost? This goes back to that conversation we had years ago.
Well, see, we
don't know.
I don't know. I have no clue. I have no idea. Yeah. I figured my end was going to be somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000.
Wow.
Was my end.
Wow.
And I am, if my anesthesiologist cost me any more than $1,200, which I've been told it's going to, then I'm going to be a little low. But yeah, I mean, that's, Jay, you taught me that, and it bears repeating that one of the biggest problems with health insurance and health care in the United States goes back to that basic thing that you taught me. You said, Matt, I think you were going to the chiropractor or something.
That's exactly what it was. I was going to a chiropractor for a procedure. When I walked out of there, I had a copay, $20 or something. I said, I have no idea what that costs.
Right.
We don't shop on price, and that's part of the reason that the healthcare is just gone crazy, because we don't shop on price.
Well, it's true.
Imagine going to buy a car and not knowing what
it's going to cost you. Yeah, and just say, well, we'll just tell you what
we'll send you a bill.
We'll just tell you what the first payment is.
Yeah,
right, and you just and we'll just we'll bill you for the rest. Rebecca reminds me, and you're right, Rebecca. You don't want to go cheap on the anesthesiologist. No, that's true. That's a good point. Can you ask Jay what the statute of limitations is for a medical malpractice claim?
I don't know that off the top of my head in Tennessee. I will find that out. Okay. I just don't have that on top of my head.
Let's see. What does private informal admonition mean? I have no idea.
I don't have a clue. I've never heard of that in my life.
I haven't either. And trust me, if Jay has not heard it from a legal perspective, it is not a legal term of art, because this man knows he knows his legal terms of art, and sometimes, every once in a while, he'll speak Latin to us. This is an interesting question. 8695 says, would you mind asking Jay what happens to illegal aliens' property if and when they are deported? Huh.
Well, they can arrange to have that to go with. By the way, the statute of limitations for medical malpractice claim is 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's why you heard me get on that guy and say you need to call a lawyer right now.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's 1 year. It's quick.
That is a quick turnaround. Yeah, that's interesting, because technically I would think that if you are illegally in the United States of America, that, your ability to buy property would probably be encumbered based on your illegal status, but I guess it would.
No, you can buy stuff. No, it's yours. It's like when somebody goes to prison. What happens to their stuff?
Right. Like their house, if they've got a house. What happens to it?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I think they either give it to people that they know, or if they, can arrange it, they can have it shipped back. But no, I think it's their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they bought a house, it's their house.
Right, and they can, if they're not legally allowed to be in the United States of America, I assume that they can figure out a way to sell the property and take the assets from the sale. All right, one more segment, one more quick one with Jay St. Clair. Larry, we'll get to you momentarily. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy. Dr. Brian McLaughlin has taken over the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. He worked with Dr. Stephen Poss for the better part of a year, if not a couple of years. And now, as Dr. Poss retires, Dr. Brian McLaughlin brings that level of expertise that you know and love from the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Friends, let me tell you, you can sleep better at night if you just call Dr. McLaughlin. Allow him to give you a full examination. Let's figure out if you do, in fact, have sleep apnea. And if you do have mild to moderate sleep apnea, they have an FDA-approved oral device that fits in your mouth. It is uniquely scanned for your mouth. It's customized for your mouth, and you will breathe better. You will sleep through the night. It'll keep the airway open, and you will get more energy in the morning. Plus, you're not stopping breathing in your sleep, which is very dangerous to your health. It is approved. They are approved, I should say, as a community care provider for the VA. They help veterans sleep better. Plus, they're in network for most insurance in the state of Tennessee. Give them a call, or better yet, go online at TennesseeSleep.com. That's TennesseeSleep.com.
Hope for diplomacy. Might there be another soccer fan march take over Lower Broad tonight? These stories and more at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
A final couple of minutes with Jay St. Clair as we work our way to the 5 o'clock hour on this edition of the Matt Murphy Radio Show. A number of your questions getting in here. Super Talk 99.7 WTN for Jay. Let us see as I go to I got to load my prep page here for just a second. Here we go.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, man,
yes,
let me
sir.
finish this up on MedMal. It can be up to, it's 1 year from when you discover that a mistake was made, but a maximum of 3 years. So it can be up to 3 years, but it's a very quick statute of limitations. If you believe that a medical care provider made a mistake with you, then you need to see a lawyer very quickly.
That's great advice. Great advice. 4176 says, if the Tennessee Board of Professional Responsibility can't help me, what other agency can I call to get money back from a lawyer that I paid but didn't do anything for me in court and I never got a court date? So basically, I have not been satisfied with my legal representation. Who can they go to?
Yeah, so the Tennessee Board of Professional Responsibility, that's a part of the bar. That's the right place to go. And they're good. I mean, they call balls and strikes pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they didn't help you, the only other thing you can do is hire a lawyer. which may not be, that may be a bad taste in your mouth. But that's about all you can do. And I'll be honest with you, getting lawyers to sue lawyers is hard. So that's the only option that I know, and it's going to be hard to get that done. You did the right thing by going to the bar, and if they felt like you didn't have a claim, you're going to have a hard time getting a lawyer to take it. I'm just giving it to you straight.
I mean, it reminds me of that old quote from, what was the Shakespearean quote? First, kill all the lawyers.
Yeah, first we kill all the lawyers.
Yeah, I forget what that was from, but that's a good one. Jay, I'll miss you this weekend. I'll miss you. I miss you every time I think about golf, and I'll miss you next Friday because I will not be here. But
will you be? Is it overnight?
No, it's outpatient.
Okay, outpatient. Yeah, outpatient. Okay, good.
I'll be home.
Well, you'll be when, Monday morning.
Monday morning, 11 o'clock is my check-in day.
Good. So you'll be getting doped up in the afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
I'll call you up and record it. Like when the people get their wisdom teeth pulled and they make those videos of them.
I love you, Jay. Just say so. I love you so much.
Well, good luck with it.
All right, man. I appreciate you, and hug Olivia for us, and we'll talk to you soon, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Take care. There's Jay. We'll get more calls coming in here in just a moment. We've got nincompoops in the news coming up. I've got a few things to say about Memphis. Well, I don't. Stephen A. Smith had a few things to say about Memphis. I don't know if you heard this. And then the mayor clapped back. And while the mayor was clapping back, telling Stephen A. he didn't know what he was talking about, somebody tried to kidnap the mayor in Memphis. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like a soap opera. We'll tell you all about it coming up in a moment. The 5 o'clock hour starts right after the news, and that starts right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Iran signaling a willingness to talk if Israel backs off, lending hope following the European talks in Switzerland with the Middle Eastern nations' diplomats today. Here's ABC senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
This is going to be a decision within 2 weeks. So 2 weeks here is the maximum, but he is hoping here that Iran is going to come back to the negotiating table, even though there are no clear signs or evidence that they're going to do so.
Meanwhile, President Trump still deciding on the level of U.S. involvement if there is no resolution.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
President Trump said this week he'll decide what to do within 2 weeks. And here in Nashville, Soccer fans have descended on Music City for the FIFA Club World Cup. Channel 4's Courtney Allen reports a large group of those fans marched and waved flags down Lower Broad last night.
Metro Police say that those fans effectively shut down Broadway last night as they estimate around 500 to 700 were a part of that march. This was around 10 o'clock last night. Police say that people started shooting Roman candle fireworks into the air during this march and, quote, recklessly putting bystanders' lives at risk. Khalid Fanesh, an FS Tunis fan from Europe, told me that he was among those marching.
Where we come from, it's our way of supporting our team, you know, the fireworks. But here, since the law, I think it's forbidden.
Los Angeles FC will be playing FS Tunis at Geodis Park, and these fans hope that they hope that they win, Lauren, but they hope that there are no incidents like what we saw last night.
Summer's here, the travel season is too, and there's been some concern about gasoline prices with everything that's going on in the Middle East. Here's ABC's Will Reeve with the latest data.
Right now, the average price of gas is $3.20 a gallon, but AAA says summer gas prices are the lowest they've been in 4 years and 24 cents per gallon less than this time last year.
Gas Buddy putting the average price per gallon here in Middle Tennessee today at $2.92. Governor Greg Abbott has 2 days to decide whether to sign into law a ban on the sale of hemp-based products containing the psychoactive chemical THC in Texas. ABC's Jim Ryan says Republican Abbott feeling pressure from all sides of the issue.
A majority of Texans in a recent poll opposed a THC ban. Now 1998 Heisman Trophy winner and University of Texas alum Ricky Williams is weighing in.
I'm calling on my friend, Greg Abbott, to please veto this bill and stand with the veterans, the farmers, and the families who know that there's a better way forward.
But Abbott is also feeling heat from conservatives in the legislature, demanding that Delta 9 and other THC products be pulled from Texas store shelves. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Woodbine, police reporting a crash 440 eastbound before Nolensville Pike. Then in Glencliff, a crash off-ramp partially blocked 24 westbound to Briley Parkway. And then 40 eastbound before Bellevue, exit 196. TDOT says there's a crash blocking the left lane there in Bellevue. 40 eastbound at Fessler's Lane, 40 westbound past Briley Parkway near the airport, 65 southbound off-ramp to Harding Place. You got a stalled vehicle blocking the left off-ramp lane there. In Murfreesboro, got a stalled vehicle, right shoulder blocked, 840 eastbound past Bill France Boulevard, exit 65. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We are just at halfway home of the Matt Murphy Show, this Friday edition. Thank you for being with us. If you're just off work, wherever you might be, off work, your home, your automobile, we thank you for making us a part of your day. We so appreciate you. Whatever time you give us is appreciated by me, by young Jackson, who's behind the glass, controlling the experience, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible. And then, of course, young Ken Weaver is back in News Closet B. He gathers headlines for a living. He throws them out there twice an hour or when news breaks. I have a question about a news story that you've been doing this afternoon, Ken Weaver.
What is it, Brother Murphy?
So it's my understanding at least a couple of people were arrested after this, what is being described as a soccer rally on Lower Broadway.
Yes, sir.
And in downtown Nashville. And my understanding, and I'm just looking at some of the story here, football fans in the Music City to watch FIFA World Cup match at Geodis Park tonight.
Yes.
Between LAFC. Well, hey, Jackson, you're the resident sports expert now officially on the Matt Murphy Show. Congratulations.
I accept this honor.
Yeah, well. You know, I don't know if you make anybody else laugh. You make Ken and I laugh. And that's good.
That's got to count for something.
That's all that counts. That's funny. All right, so you are the and that's not saying much, by the way. I mean, if it for me,
I'll laugh at anything.
No, I'm not talking about the laughter. I'm talking about being the resident sports expert because Ken Weaver knows his foosball now. Don't get me wrong.
Me and Bobby Boucher, we were best buddies.
Uh-huh. But when you talk about the round ball, the
football,
European football, I'm out. LAFC, well, that's Los Angeles
Football Club. They play in MLS. They play Nashville SC pretty often.
Okay, Nashville SC. What SC? Why don't we call them FC?
Some do one way, some do the other. It's a branding. Thing.
So in Nashville, we call them soccer.
I guess. Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean. It's fine. And the what is this? Experience Sportive de Tunisie?
Yep, Godspeed, if you want to say that again.
Yeah, well, I did. I said it once.
Tunisia.
See, Ken Weaver knows how to pronounce
He's on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Ken Weaver is the resident pronouncer of the Matt Murphy Show.
Yeah. Yeah. Ask me again the name of the South African president.
Go for it.
See?
Let's not revisit.
Weaver, you once in how many years? And see, that's what's so good about you is that it's right there in your crawl.
Yeah,
you can't get it up.
Yeah, I called him Ramaphosa. It's Ramaphosa.
That's not bad.
I've
done much worse.
No, wait a minute. I got it backward. It is Ramaphosa. I was calling him Ramaphosa. Apparently in South Africa, the H is silent.
Well, there you go. Everybody knows that, Ken. Everybody. Anyway, my question regarding this story, around 10. So they're in town for tonight. So this is FIFA coming to town's a big deal.
Yes.
Jackson, is that right? I mean, that's what we would.
It's a big get for the city to have the FIFA World Cup Club Cup or something.
Yeah, Club Cup.
Look, I would sing the praises far more often than I do of Geodis Park if that John Ingram would just stop trying to take over the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway and allow the Bristol Motor Speedway folks to do what they're going to do to the Fairgrounds Speedway instead of holding money against the city to try to force the city into ultimately letting that property go back to him. Anyway, that's another story for another day. I love Geodis Park. I think Geodis Park's beautiful. Gorgeous facility. And the largest soccer-only stadium in America, right? I think
something like that.
Anyway, so this is a big deal. A lot of foosball fans in town. Around 10:30 last night, as Ken has been reporting today, a group of between 400 and 500 marched up and down Broadway and stopped at the flagpoles at the end of the roadway at the Cumberland River. The crowd shut down the roadway without permission, ignored officers' demands to divert to 2nd Avenue. My question is, were they just doing this because they didn't know any better, or were they trying to – do we know if they were trying to plug traffic on purpose, or is it a matter of just there being maybe a language barrier or whatever? They just didn't understand what they were doing was wrong.
Well, according to this fella who is a fan of this Tunisia team that's in town, who was at last night's march, he said this is something they do in their country. They apparently did not know that setting off fireworks in the middle of a crowd is not a good idea.
Not a preferred thing
here in Nashville,
right?
And so, but yeah, apparently, as far as heading out, marching down streets or whatever, that's just something they do.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, I suppose.
I'm not sure if police were definitely not. They weren't cool with them walking down the street because they were blocking traffic,
right?
And so that was an infraction because they didn't have a permit.
Mm-hmm.
But then the setting off fireworks.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's. I mean,
that
that
was
got,
a whole other story.
And that got 2 folks arrested. Apparently, one guy. 43-year-old Moaz Hami shut off fireworks into the crowd. Officers noted the smoke placed the crowd in, quote, imminent danger and in danger of bodily injury. Hami was booked into the Metro jail charged with felony assault, and then one other person was arrested, 25-year-old Mohammed Bakush. Also set off fireworks within the crowd. So I get it sounds to me like they are in town. They went to where the party happens. This was not like their version of a They weren't trying to protest anything. They were just partying and having a good time.
They were just partying.
And didn't know necessarily they were doing anything wrong.
Yeah, I guess that sort of thing is allowed over there in Tunisia.
Well, and here's where it becomes a little tricky. Because I welcome all comers to the city of Nashville. If you're in these great United States of America legally, more power to you, and come on over and spend some of your money on Lower Broadway. The thing is, tonight I don't think they would have a problem because I think they close down the streets on Lower Broad on Friday and Saturday nights now.
I think on the weekend they
on the
do.
weekends they do. So it gets a little tricky because last night they're screaming and yelling at you. To get off the roadways and get on the sidewalk. Tonight, you'll be fine.
Yeah, tonight they'll just be on the sidewalk.
You're all good.
When they could be in the street.
Well, right, because they're worried that they're going to get in trouble. Just don't set off the fireworks, people. That's the big thing. Larry is next up. Hey, Larry, what's up, man?
How you doing, Matt?
Man, Larry, I'm good. It's always good to talk to you. You doing all right?
I'm still above the daisies, brother. That's all that matters.
Yes.
Amen.
And listen, I'm wishing you the best on your surgery. I do wish you would get or ask the surgeon to prescribe you an ice machine for your recovery because that's going to make a whole lot of difference.
I have been told that ice is my very, very best friend in all of this.
It will be. It will be your best friend, believe me.
And our good friend Debbie Matthews from down in Columbia reached out to me yesterday and encouraged me to purchase an ice machine that I guess you put the ice inside of it and then it refrigerates hoses and then it goes up and you can put it on your shoulder or something or another. Is that what you're talking about, Larry?
Yes, there's like a Velcro vest that will wrap around your shoulder, and you do have these hoses. but believe me, it will be your best friend.
Definitely worth it.
Yes, sir. And after, insurance might actually even pay for it. But the other thing, Tony called in. You guys were talking about how old you were when Jaws came out, and salute to Tony and his dad for what they did. And Tony was talking about how old he was. I was 15 when Jaws came out. And I did not go to the beach until that was 70. That was 75. I didn't go to the beach till 82. I didn't get in the water.
Wow.
Now, I told my wife at the time, who couldn't swim, hey, going out there and, here, take this float.
And?
Well, she did. But,
wait, hold on a sec. You told your wife,
yeah,
who couldn't swim,
yeah,
just go on out there and take this float out there, and you'll be fine, honey.
Yeah.
Did you like her?
At that time, not much.
Well, I mean, I've known people that have done that can't swim, and then they get caught on a float, and off into the ocean they go.
Well, I'm just, she was so adamant about going to the beach, and I'm redheaded and freckle-faced. I can't spend a whole lot of time out on the beach, but she just would insist, and, she was kind of a, pain most of the time.
Were you, Larry, let's just cut to the chase. Were you kind of rooting for the shark?
I was.
Well, I mean, that says it all. Thank you, Larry. The times we didn't go to the beach a lot, we went to the Atlantic Ocean. I grew up in Thompson, Georgia, Thomson, no P in Thompson. So we would go over to, the South Carolina coastline. We didn't go to Hilton Head because that's where the rich people went.
You were more of a Myrtle Beach family.
More of a amen, brother. And Myrtle Beach, or Savannah. You can go to Savannah and make way with Savannah. But I didn't know what the beauty of the ocean was until I went to the Gulf of Mexico, and that wasn't until I was a teenager. And the Gulf of Mexico is, the Atlantic gets more waves, they get more tide. But it is a brown water, and it is more of a brown sand. But going to the Gulf, man, oh, man, it's a different world. But I remember as a kid and as a young adult, I would just go on out into that ocean, and I didn't even care. I mean, it did not faze me. But the last few times I have been to the beach and gotten into the water, and you get up to, to your waist, to the nipple line, it bothers me that I can't see.
Yeah.
It bothers me when I feel something rubbing up against me. Yeah. I don't like it.
Well, it's, kids are fearless.
Uh-huh.
You don't have any fears.
That's right.
But I'm like that. I'm scared to death of those riptides.
They'll take you right out. Or those little, have you seen online, I've never seen them in real life, those square tide waves that they say you need to get out of the water if these things happen?
Yeah. I haven't heard of that.
It's like it's a weird little phenomenon where it's like a riptide on steroids or something like that.
Goodness.
Okay. I said it wrong. My bad. Good Lord, I'm getting destroyed on these super
you're calling the Gulf of Mexico.
I called it
I knew it. I knew they were going to get you.
Even I heard that one, Murph.
My bad. Old habits and hard to break and all of that. It is 5:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Still to come this hour, nincompoops in the news. Plus, in a moment, if I have the time, we will play the speech. It is one of the greatest monologues in cinema history.
Yes,
and today is the 50th anniversary of Jaws, and we'll play the USS Indianapolis speech coming up next. You're right. Jellyfish, 2968. Jellyfish scare me worse than sharks.
Yeah, those. I had a buddy. Took a buddy down to my grandparents who lived outside of Houston. I took him down to the beach with me one time. They're off Freeport, and he had one of those things wrapped around his leg.
Oh, no. Did you have to pee on him?
No. We didn't know about that at the time.
That's what they see. I've always heard that that's a remedy.
That's what I've heard.
But then I feel like somewhere deep down that's a lot of baloney, that people just want to pee on other people. But anyway, one way or the other. Here's what I also have heard. That the lights are going to go out at some time or another at your home in the middle of Tennessee, right? Because we get all phases of power outages. You get the summer storms that create a power outage. You get the fall storms that create a power outage. You get the tornadic activity, sadly, that create power outages. You get ice storms that could potentially create outages during the wintertime. I mean, all season long, any season long, you can have power outages. Well, you don't have to worry about it if you've got a Premier Generac generator from Premier Generators. Picture this. You're working remotely and the power goes out and you don't have a home generator. What do? Well, you're just out of luck. Or, goodness me, if you've got someone in your family that needs power for oxygen or whatnot, you obviously need to make sure that power will always be on. It is the smartest investment that you can make. It can improve the value of your home. Let the experts at Premier Generators help you out. They know their craft inside and out. Give them a call at 615-439-2992, 439-2992. Premier Generators, the #1 Generac generator dealer in the state of Tennessee. PremierGenerators.com. That's PremierGenerators.com.
Iran signaling a willingness to talk. Details coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk and 99.7 WTN.
Nincompoops in the news on the way. It's the 50th anniversary of Jaws. We're having a little fun with that today. We're also, I'm getting in trouble. So, 0851's got my back, though. I got into a lot of trouble saying Gulf of Mexico.
It's Gulf of America.
That's exactly right. It's Gulf of America. And 0851's got my back, though. Said, you're good, Murph. It was Gulf of Mexico when you were there then. So, so I get a little technical out there. Yeah. And many of you are expressing you're expressing your opinions on whether or not urine therapy works on jellyfish stings.
Yeah.
And one person is very adamant. 7258 says, hot, and I'm just going to say this as it's written.
All right.
If I'm yelling, that means it's all caps, right? Hot water does it. Not pee. Peeing on your friend is just weird. Use hot water.
What if you don't have the hot water around?
Well, then, got to do what you got to do, I suppose. I mean, friend in a jam, if they're asking for it, you ask for it, and you get it.
This is kind of teasing my nincompoops today.
Have y'all ever seen the episode of Friends where they go to the beach?
I don't think so, Jackson.
Chandler had to do that to Monica.
Oh, yeah? Did it work?
It did work.
Well, there's got to be a reason.
I think that Friends episode probably started the rumor.
I thought you just you spit tobacco on it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know which one of those I'd pick. If I'm being honest with you. Use dip spit.
Spit on me. Spit on me.
Yeah, I'd go with the tobacco.
I don't know.
Like I make what do they call that? A poultice? Or like a plaster, like a tobacco plaster on the wound. Have you been? Has anybody been stung by a jellyfish, Jackson?
No, luckily.
Weaver?
Nope,
did you say?
Just my buddy.
No, I have not either, but I have a fear of it because everybody that it happens to says that it is.
It hurts.
It hurts. And I did have a friend, my good friend Tim from Birmingham that I play poker with from time to time. He told me that his daughter was down at the beach. Her she's like 7. First time that she ventured out into the water on her own was very exciting. It's a moment in their lives. He had held her in the ocean before, but this was her first time on, the ground and doing it herself. Got stung by a jellyfish. Bad. And I said, well, she's okay, right? She's willing to go. She said, no. She told me she's never going into the ocean again ever in her life. And I'm like, oh, that stinks. Man of War is worse. I'm certain of that.
Oh, yeah. They're bigger.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And let's see. 7382 said, tobacco's for bee stings.
Yeah, I had some of that on a yellow jacket sting when I was a kid, and it worked.
3376 says, do not pee on bees. Well, now we're just getting weird. I mean, this show's gone.
They might not like that.
Well, I would agree. Don't do that. Pack in wet sand. Tobacco works great on bee stings. Tobacco on bee stings. So a lot of people, I've been stung by a jellyfish, and the best thing to do, pee on it. I'm telling you, of all of the people, and there are considerable amount of people responding on the super text line to this subject, I'm going to say that general consensus is pee on it. So,
well,
I mean, the tribe has spoken.
Yes.
Time to take care of your business. And we'll do news in the process. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.5:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Iran signaled a willingness to talk if Israel backs off, lending hope following the European talks in Switzerland today with the Middle Eastern nations' diplomats. Meanwhile, President Trump still deciding on the level of U.S. involvement if there is no resolution. Trump administration at odds with itself and Iran. This is the president as he was pressed by a reporter today.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
On Thursday, the White House stated definitively Iran has all it needs to produce a nuclear weapon in a couple of weeks.
President Trump said 2 weeks is the maximum period of time he's giving Iran as he considers whether to strike that nation's nuclear capabilities. Asked why he's giving that time frame.
Just time to see whether or not people come to their senses.
The president also indicated he may not take military action.
We'll have to see what happens. Maybe it won't be necessary.
The president dismissed negotiations that took place Friday between European and Iranian officials, insisting Iran wants to talk to the U.S., not Europe. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Here in Nashville, the reward for information leading to a hit-and-run arrest has grown substantially. Metro Police say the National Police Defense Foundation is putting up $10,000 on top of up to $5,000 from Crime Stoppers for 32-year-old Tony Lopez Infante, an illegal immigrant police say was driving the car that struck Zachary Carriage in a crosswalk on Church Street earlier this month. Aflac has been hacked. Here's ABC's Wayne Cabot.
Aflac says it's not just them. It says this hack attack is affecting other insurance companies as well and was caused by a sophisticated cybercrime group. Aflac says it immediately initiated cyber incident response protocols and stopped the intrusion, but they're unable to determine the total number of customers or what might have been accessed. The affected files contain claims information, health information, and Social Security numbers. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
Yeah, it's offering customers free credit monitoring and identity theft protection, and that's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Satan knows Scripture better than some Christians, and for that reason should be respected because he has centuries of experience in deceiving and tempting people. Satan understands our human nature and our motivations. Satan has the power to plant thoughts in our minds if we allow it through ignorance. John 13:2, during supper, the devil having already put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, to betray him, that being Jesus, Satan can possess non-believers as well. Luke 22:3, and Satan entered into Judas, who was called Iscariot, belonging to the number of the 12. Satan actually tries harder on Christians because Christians become his enemies when we accept Christ as our Savior. The best news, Christians share in Jesus' victory since he defeated Satan's power on the cross. John 16:33, these things I have spoken to you so that in me you may have peace. In the world you may have tribulation, but take courage. I have overcome the world. Scan to learn more.
Grace Point Healthcare is affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medicine done the old-fashioned way. What do we mean by that? Well, I'll tell you. We were talking with our friend Jay St. Clair about this, that oftentimes you have no idea what you're paying for medical care. Well, not so at Grace Point Healthcare. You know exactly what you pay because they utilize a direct pay format, which gives you the opportunity to file with your insurance company for reimbursement, but your relationship with Grace Point is your relationship with Grace Point. And that's nice. You have a couple of advantages as a result. One, you know exactly what you're paying, and the price point is less as a result. Number two, never will an insurance company get in between you and your medical professional at Grace Point Healthcare. They just don't believe in it there because they want to solve the problem that you've come in with. Now, if you've got underlying conditions that create symptoms, why would they just treat the symptoms without getting to the underlying condition? Sadly, oftentimes that's what medical care is all about, the symptoms instead of the underlying conditions. Not so at Grace Point. Number two, you get a right now appointment, which is lovely. All right. You can get in same day or next day, even for brand new patients. Obviously, Grace Point wants to be your primary care provider. And with their basic smart care plan, you know that you pay $69 a month. You get unlimited office visits. Call 599-6868, 599-6868. For Grace Point Healthcare in the heart of Franklin. Grace Point Healthcare, exceptional medicine at your convenience. They are modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way.
Pastor and author J.C. Ryle once said, contrary to popular belief, hell is not a place God sends only the worst of the worst. Hell is our default destination. What that means is we need someone to save us, or we stand before God condemned to hell. But we cannot save ourselves. Only God can do that. Ephesians 2:8-9 says, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not as a result of works, so that no one may boast." Jesus Christ placed all believers' sins upon himself and died to pay for those sins. Why did he have to die, though? Because Scripture explicitly says the wages of sin is death. Wages means the same as payment, so payment for sin is death. There are no second chances to accept Christ and avoid hell after you die. So if you feel a prompting in your heart, it may be God drawing you. Scan the QR code to learn more.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The amount of jellyfish urine expertise that is currently on display on the Super Text line is fascinating. I'm fascinated at the number of people that would regard themselves as experts in this field. Among them, someone says, use Windex with ammonia. It works on bee, wasp stings as well as jellyfish. Gardeners and scuba divers swear by it. Also, Greeks. Remember that, My Big Fat Greek Wedding? Her dad. You see the movie there, Jackson? You're looking at me kind of with a blank stare.
Haven't seen that one.
Big Fat Greek Wedding? It's a pretty good film. Her father and the woman that was the subject of the wedding, her dad carried around a bottle of Windex, and if you said you had like a sprain, he would squirt you with Windex. Like, oh, my thumb hurts. Put some Windex on it.
Carried it around, did he?
Yeah, he carried it around with him like a little pistol and whip it out. Karen writes in and says, my grandfather was a senior professor of biology at the University of Hawaii.
Hi, Hawaii.
In the early I don't know what that has to be a typo. It says in the early ITs, he took my brothers surfing and told them if they got stung by a jellyfish, they should pee on it. Okay. I'm telling you, general consensus. By the way, several of you are asking more serious-minded questions regarding Tulsi Gabbard and the schism between Tulsi and Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I don't know that Tulsi is long for the position of Director of National Intelligence.
Doesn't sound like it.
It does not sound like it. And I'm not suggesting that I know who's in the right and who's in the wrong. I would say this. I know that there is exactly one person that speaks for the Trump administration, and everyone else speaks in concert with that one person. That one person is Donald J. Trump. And if you find yourself out of bounds, or if you find yourself in a lurch, or if you find yourself all by yourself over in a corner, you need to correct yourself and get on the same page with your man, Donald J. Trump. Otherwise, you're going to be isolated quickly. And if Tulsi finds herself speaking out of step with what Trump wants her to say, then Trump's going to find somebody else to do the job. Let me tell you something. This man, long before The Apprentice, he was never afraid to fire people. And he certainly isn't afraid to fire Tulsi Gabbard. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't pretend to know behind closed doors who's right, who's wrong, what's going on, why one page is saying one thing, the other page is saying another thing. I know who's going to win that fight, though.
Yeah.
And that's the president. He's the one that's going to win. I know who's been winning nincompoops in the news, too. That's yours truly, Matt Murphy. I'm on two-day winning streak.
What in the world's going on?
I know. I don't. Jackson.
Nincompoops in the news.
He's my lovable good luck charm. Is Jackson Williams. It's time for Nincompoops in the news, ladies and gents. You know what the news is by now. Ken Weaver, Jackson Williams, and Matt Murphy, we scour the entire internet, and we find the boobs, nincompoops. And we bring them to you on a daily basis, and you get to vote. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Vote after you hear these three stories. Or you can vote before if you want. I mean, if you want to go ahead and vote for Ken Weaver like many of you do, just throw it out there. Whatever.
We could call it boobs with the subject of my nincompoops.
You know what? Mine as well.
Huh. Well, I might as well go. Well, we established winner goes first, right? Didn't we establish that this week?
The new law of the land.
Well, I'll go ahead and take care of that. First time in Nincompoops history that Matt Murphy's coming off a 2-poop winning streak.
That's the way to go, Brother Murphy.
Thank you, Ken. I've been learning from you. I've been listening closely. I have. Been listening closely and swiping some of those naked stories. This is not one of them, though. Police dash cam video captured officers struggling with a convicted jewel thief in an attempt to keep the man from absconding with said jewels. The footage of a Florida highway patrol vehicle was recorded during a February apprehension of Jathan Gilder, 32 years of age. He was on Interstate 10 in Chipley, Florida, a city about 330 miles from Orlando. Gilder, driving a rented Mitsubishi Outlander, was pulled over by troopers who had received a be on the lookout. That, you know what that's called? You know what we call that, Jackson? Be on the lookout?
Head on a swivel.
That's a bolo. That's a bolo, buddy. Be on the lookout. Bolo.
But head on a swivel's good, too.
Head on a swivel's good, too. I don't know. What would that be? Head on a swivel. That would be a hose.
Yeah, it'd be a hose.
Yeah, hose. A head on a swivel.
Oh, no, it would be a hose.
Yeah, hose. H-O-A-S. A hose. Anyway, a hose or a bolo. Be on the lookout from the Orlando police investigating a robbery earlier in the day at Tiffany & Company. Gilder, whose rap sheet contains a litany of jewelry robberies, was suspected of posing as a representative of an NBA player interested in purchasing diamonds. After being shown to a private room, the man grabbed two sets of diamond earrings worth $609,000 and $160,000 respectively, and bolted from the store.
Boy.
But none of this makes him a nincompoop. It just makes him your common jewel thief.
Yes, sir.
But after being pulled from the vehicle and handcuffed, Gilder was being walked to a squad car when a trooper noticed the detainee was, quote, talking with a closed mouth and moving an object around using his tongue. As seen on arrest video, which was released to various news outlets and organizations in response to an open records request, troopers repeatedly ordered Gilder to open his mouth and spit out what was inside. One trooper warning him, "You're about to get tased." Another declared, "He swallowed something. He swallowed something." Troopers grabbed his throat and jaw. Gilder, through gritted teeth, replied, "I don't have to open my mouth." Police initially thought Gilder may have been swallowing illegal narcotics, such as drugs, noting that he had white matter on his lips. Gilder said it was Abrevia, a cold sore cream. Random.
Abrevia?
That's just from a cold sores. A field test did not detect any illegal substances on Gilder or his person. When a search of his vehicle only turned up a Tiffany & Company price tag and cards for the earrings, the troopers concluded, well, he probably swallowed the earrings. One investigator wondered whether the diamonds could perforate something internally and result in surgery. Following his arrest, Gilder was transported to a local hospital where he refused treatment and evaluation and stated many times that he did not want his stomach to be x-rayed. I'm fine, and I don't want you to x-ray my stomach. Well, why are you bringing that up? After a subsequent jail scan detected, quote, foreign objects inside of his body, he reportedly asked correction officers, "Are you going to try to charge me with what's in my stomach?" The answer to that, by the way, is yes. He was hospitalized under guard in Orlando. He refused to take take laxatives. He then claimed to be a practicing Muslim who could only eat after sundown and before sunrise due to the holiday of Ramadan.
Yeah.
After it took 2 weeks, he finally passed to the diamonds in mid-March. They were cleaned and eventually turned over to a company security manager. According to a police report, they were taken back to the store. Having spent time in a felon's stomach, the diamonds are presumably back on the market if they've not been sold already. There you go.
What was that fella's name again?
His name was, hold on a second. His name was Gilmer, I believe. Yeah, Gilder. The fellow was named Jathan Gilder.
Jathan Gilder.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Just swallow the diamonds. Just, got to do what you got to do. I wonder if he's ever swallowed them before, because I would be concerned about the same thing. I would be concerned about perforation.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want that.
I mean, I've had Montezuma's revenge. Yeah. I don't want Tiffany and Company's revenge.
Whew.
That'd be tough. Hey, sir, it's your turn. Let's get your nincompoop in here. Yeah, and I briefly forgot your name, Jackson. I'm sorry.
Okay, wonderful. I'm going to start mine like you did, I believe, on Wednesday with a disclaimer.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
This is getting a little raunchy here.
Just be careful.
We're going to be careful.
Okay.
But if you have kids around, maybe throw some headphones in.
Okay,
while
sure.
listen.
Yeah, little pictures.
We're going across the pond for this one. A British Airlines crew mistakenly booked into a love hotel and kept awake by moaning. At least 12 members of the staff were booked into the motel in Milan, which offers a variety of themed suites, including a dungeon-style room. There's no limit in this place. It's thought the staff was supposed to stay at the hotel with the same name, a regular vanilla 4-star hotel next door run by the same brand. The airline said some staff were moved to unapproved hotels following availability issues with our usual accommodation provider. And some of the team who stayed in the hotel didn't get any sleep, so they could not operate on British Airlines services the next day.
Hello, front desk. Yeah, can we do something about the, I don't know.
The noises?
Moaning. I'm sorry, sir. We actually can't. That's a part of
it's
the
encouraged
theme of the hotel. Oh, man. So imagine missing your flight the next day because that crew couldn't be a part of the flight and explaining that to your wife.
Exactly.
Honey, the crew was in a hotel that...
Well, there was a lot of moaning.
There was a lot of groans from the crowd.
That's pretty good there, Jackson.
That's the way to go, Brother Jackson.
Mr. Weaver, your nincompoop, sir.
All right, this is out of Meridian, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
About a fella by the name of Milton Eugene Starkey. 29-year-old man arrested and charged with robbery, simple assault, public drunk, contempt of court, according to the Neshoba County Sheriff, Eric Clark.
Dadgummit, Eugene.
Deputies responded to the Silver Star Casino on Saturday, May 17th, to a report that a naked man was seen on a golf course.
I've played golf on this golf course.
Well, according to Sheriff Clark, Choctaw police had arrested Starkey on the resort grounds and had taken him to the Silver Star security office, where he still had possession of a woman's purse at the time that CPD apprehended him. So they went to surveillance footage of the west entrance to the resort, and it showed Starkey pushing a woman to the ground and take her purse. Clark said he then proceeds to run off into the parking lot and starts removing his clothes.
Mm-hmm. As you do.
Deputies determined that Starkey was intoxicated.
Oh, really?
Say it ain't so.
No.
Starkey told deputies he had taken some pills and did not remember the incident. However, there's no explanation as to why he decided to get naked after stealing the purse.
This is at the Silver Star?
It's at Silver Star.
Yeah, that golf course is called the Dancing Rabbit. I've played golf at that golf course.
Well, I wish I could show you the mugshot of Mr. Starkey.
Oh, is he pretty lit up?
Well, he's on something.
Hang out in the drawer zone.
Yeah. He's giving him the side eye.
Well, I mean, I would be too.
He's got an orange suit on. Of course, I guess they put it on him in the jail and then took his photo.
So he got naked after the theft?
Yeah, stole the purse, and then as he's running away, he's shedding clothes.
So hot, all this running.
Yeah.
I'm so hot.
Maybe he thought it'd make him invisible.
Oh. He can't.
That's all I can figure. Well, I stole the purse.
It's like that old. There's a scene out of the old movie Amazon Women on the Moon, where a guy thinks he's made an invisibility potion, and he has it, and so he gets naked in front of everybody, and he's dancing around. And they're like, "We can no, you can't see me." And it's like, "Oh man, we can see him."
I got to watch that.
That's pretty good. It's a pretty good one. There you go. That's how you play Nincompoop to the News. Thank you very much, Jackson. Keep us on time there, buddy. Jackson is a perfectly viable vote. So's Ken Weaver, but I mean, you could throw Murphy a solid. The trifecta, the turkey, if you will,
right off into the sunset.
The threefer. Uh-huh. Oh, look, right here, I got a vote for Matt, I got a vote for Jackson, I got a vote for Ken. It's going to be a tight one today, boys.
It's going to be close, boys.
It is 7 until 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Shane Ring in Covernash wants to talk with you today. Friends, did you know that you might be paying too much for your health insurance? And if you are paying too much for your health insurance, it can cost you in the long run. I'm learning intimately about what deductibles mean when it comes to surgical opportunity or surgical options. What deductibles mean in terms of your overall health insurance coverage. Well, Shane Ring understands that you don't want some of those high-end deductibles. He can get you deductibles lower than $1,000. As a matter of fact, I think the figure was $250 in some cases. It's incredible. Give Shane a call and let him talk you through it. Exactly what the coverage will be, exactly what your deductibles will be. You need all of this information. And here's the great thing. Shane is not selling you from one insurance plan or another. He is looking across the entire health insurance market and helping you figure out exactly what's right for you. It's why you know that Shane Ring and Covernash, they're on your side. They're not a call center. They are your local expert when it comes to insurance. Any questions? Give Shane a call today at Covernash, 615-465-0023, 465-0023 for Covernash.
6 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. And big heads up for tomorrow, drivers. The East Loop downtown, both directions, going to be closed starting tonight for paving work. It will not reopen until 5 o'clock Monday morning. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Iran signaled a willingness to talk if Israel backs off, lending hope following the European talks in Switzerland with the Middle Eastern nations' diplomats today. Meanwhile, President Trump still deciding on the level of U.S. involvement if there is no resolution and disagreeing with his intelligence community. Trump, speaking with a reporter in Morristown, New Jersey today on his way to Bedminster, asked about Trump administration intelligence on whether or not Iran is building a nuclear weapon. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers.
President Trump Friday countered a U.S. intelligence assessment that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon.
Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
In March, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard told Congress the intelligence community concluded the Iranians were not building a nuclear bomb, and the supreme leader there had not yet authorized one to be built. The White House said Thursday Iran could complete production of a nuclear weapon within a few weeks, once given the go-ahead from the Ayatollah. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Lots of judges making rulings today. One that just came down blocks a Louisiana law requiring the 10 Commandments to be posted in all public school classrooms. Then there is this. Harvard University on today, notching another legal victory against the Trump administration.
Amid multiple attacks from the Trump administration, like funding cuts and executive actions to limit its students from coming into the United States, Harvard University on Friday secured a federal injunction that allows the school to continue enrolling international students. It's a brief reprieve for the thousands of international students who've been thrown into uncertainty since the Trump administration began its crackdown at the country's oldest university. Trump has said he'd like the school to cap the number of international students at Harvard to 15% of its overall student body. Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
Here in Nashville, Metro Police say the reward has grown substantially for information leading to the arrest of a hit-and-run suspect. $10,000 from the National Police Defense Foundation on top of the up to $5,000 Crime Stoppers reward. The suspect is 32-year-old Tony Lopez Infante. Police say he was in the country illegally and behind the wheel of the car you've seen on social media, flipping 21-year-old Zachary Carriage into the air. Carriage landing hard on the street below as he was trying to cross Church Street. He was in the crosswalk. And AAA is predicting that this 4th of July holiday weekend will be a record breaker. I think they say that every year. Well, the Auto Club expects an increase in both air travel and people traveling by car. Here's AAA's Alex Iziekia.
72 million is a new record, and it exceeds the previous record, which was set last year.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Lebanon accident reported by TDOT. That's going to be 40 eastbound past South Hartman Drive. Then 65 northbound off-ramp to Wedgwood Avenue. It's partially blocked there in Belmont by a crash. 24 westbound between exit 31 and exit 24 in Jolton. Highway Patrol says there's a crash. 40 eastbound at exit 210C eastbound. Again, that's going to be on the South Loop. Police say there's a crash. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We enter the final hour of the week, and my left shoulder's final hour on the radio. R.I.P., buddy.
Does it have anything to say?
You know, it's been rather quiet. Yeah, well, it basically grumps. That's all the shoulder ever does to me. It just grumps and grouses and gripes. And I mean, it's just basically a pain in my neck. And
it would be
places.
A pain in your shoulder.
Well, I mean, it's a pain in all the places. Yeah, we'll say R.I.P. To the left shoulder coming up in just a little bit as we wind our way to 7 o'clock. Ken Weaver's back in News Closet B. There's young Jackson. He's behind the mic, making sure that everything that comes out of our speaker sounds as good as humanly possible. My name is Matt Murphy, and we've got plenty to say to you in this final hour. To include, Tulsi Gabbard. You know what? Somebody said, have you seen the post by Tulsi Gabbard on X? Well, I'm looking at the last thing I see that Tulsi Gabbard has posted, unless I'm missing something. It's Tulsi Gabbard's X account, Director of National Intelligence, former presidential candidate and Congresswoman, was from June 11th. And it was a repost of Donald Trump saying, our deal with China is done, subject to final approval with President Xi and me. Full magnets and any necessary bare earths will be supplied up front, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then she had one on June 10th of this year that indicated that she visited Hiroshima and stood at the epicenter of a city scarred by the unimaginable horror caused by a single nuclear bomb dropped in 1945. What I saw, the stories I heard, and the haunting sadness that remained will be with me forever. So, I've not seen anything outside of that, Sally. So if I'm missing an account, wait, hold on, maybe yeah. There's her personal account, and then there's her DNI account. Let's see about this. Serving as the 8th director of national intelligence under the leadership of POTUS Trump. Oh yeah, this one was from about an hour ago. Or the dishonest media is intentionally taking my testimony out of context and spreading fake news as a way of manufacturing division. America has intelligence that Iran is at the point that it can produce a nuclear weapon within weeks to months if they decide to finalize the assembly. President Trump has been clear that can't happen, and I agree. My full testimony below. So she's correcting the record. She also posted or reposted, Director of National Intelligence Gabbard's testimony has consistently backed up President Trump's position, and shame on the media for trying to twist it and misrepresent the truth. Fact. DNI Gabbard has testified that Iran has produced levels of enriched uranium that is unprecedented for a nation without nuclear weapons. Fact. If Iran decides to finalize its assembly, the weapons would be weeks away from being operational. So it appears, based on what she said roughly 1 hour ago, that there is less of a schism between where she is and where he is. So here's what they do, man. And look, I don't know where this is going, and I'll have at least a week to figure it out. But here's what I know. One of the reasons that I didn't go too far in questioning this, I question whether or not Tulsi Gabbard is long for the Trump administration if, in fact, she said things that go directly contrary to his position on the issue involving Iran. But I got caught up in it like everybody gets caught up in it. What the mainstream media does, they go to the president and they say, well, what about what Tulsi Gabbard said about Iran? Tulsi Gabbard said Iran doesn't have enough, that they're not ready to have a nuke. Well, they didn't say Tulsi Gabbard. Let me back up. They said, what about your people in national intelligence? Your national intelligence community says that Iran isn't close to a nuke. And they're like, nah, that's wrong. Whoever said that's wrong. Who said that? Tulsi Gabbard. Well, then Tulsi's wrong. That was the exchange. But what, in fact, perhaps is going on is the mainstream media is misrepresenting the testimony of Tulsi Gabbard with regard to that. And by the way, the testimony that they're citing, isn't that testimony from like back in March? So perhaps, just perhaps, that separation isn't going to happen. The media has tried to do this all along the way. They try to do it with every good person that Donald Trump has on his team. They tried to do it with Trump and Elon Musk. They tried to do it with Trump and J.D. Vance. They tried to do it with Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. They tried to do it with Trump and everybody. They misrepresent what these people are saying about Trump or about his policy for the purpose of getting Trump to shoot off in an attempt to peel them off from the administration. It's disgusting. Instead of merely reporting the news, they're trying to shape administration policy or shape members of the cabinet by misreporting things to our president. So I don't know where it goes, and I don't know if it's true or not that Tulsi Gabbard has been excluded from intelligence gatherings or intelligence meetings because, sadly, I have to depend on the mainstream media in order to figure that out. Lindsay is next up on the Matt Murphy Show. Hello, Lindsay.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Lindsay.
I'm going to throw Dan under the bus now.
Oh, why not? It's more fun than you think.
Why not? Indeed.
Yeah.
He is the fourth nincompoop, although I gave you my vote out of the three.
Well, thank you, Lindsay. That's very kind of you.
Okay. Well, here's what. I had talked to him last week about you have got the best bit ever, and maybe he should copy it. Guess what he tried to do? He's trying to copy it. So this morning, they were like, they named it Dingbats.
Dingbats?
And then yes, Dan's Dingbats. And I was like, wait. Joan was like, wait, is that sexist? Is that only for girls? Now we had to have a whole dingbat conversation. But there could be like dipsticks and doughies and dwees and all kinds of horrible names for Dan's, but he's copying you. So Dan is the Dimcompoop of the week.
The Dimcompoop. So Dan, thank you, Lindsay, for the call. Thank you for the heads up. So we've got our little. I mean, look, I've not copyrighted Nincompoops in the news. I think it's a pretty nifty little segment, if I do say so myself.
Would you like me to get on that?
Please, Jackson. Just copyright it in an interim fashion because that's your status here as executive producer of the Matt Murphy Show. You are a permanent intern or a permanent interim erstwhile producer. Well, so Dan wants to have Dan's Daily Dingbats. That's got a ring to it, I have to admit. So what should I do with that? Maybe I should figure out my own version of what does he do? Doesn't he do the Daily Dan poll? I think that's correct.
Well, we could also next time we have Jay on, we could get our $140 and our crayon.
There you go, and see if we can
go the litigious route here.
Can't engage in some sort of lawsuit suing Dan for theft of intellectual property.
But I'm not concerned until they get a big voice guy on it.
That's right. I mean, yeah, right. I mean, can you play our big voice guy? I mean, does he have this going on? Let me listen to this. Hey, Mandis, if you're listening.
Nincompoops in the news.
I mean, that is a big voice guy right there. You're going to be hard-pressed to find yourself so Dan's Dingbats.
That could be the opening. That would be pretty funny.
And Lindsay called him a Dan Compoop, which is pretty funny. It is the 50th anniversary of Jaws, And rather than talk about politics, look, I've got stories about Memphis. I've got stories about Donald Trump is not an isolationist. He's not. These Memphis stories involve the Memphis mayor almost getting kidnapped. Did y'all see that? One day after Mayor Paul Young of Memphis touted the declining crime rate in the city, responding to Stephen A. Smith, a man was arrested for allegedly stalking and attempting to kidnap him. That happened. I could do that story for you. I've got, let's see, I've got this story. Did you see the backlash over Kroger and Juneteenth?
I have seen some of these videos.
Well, what are they supposed to do, man? Like, I don't know what the colors of Juneteenth are. Look, all I know is if I saw a cookie cake, have you seen some of the pictures of the cookie cakes and all of that? You know, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, they're pretty funny.
Like, so a TikToker put up a video of Kroger, and I don't know, it was in Atlanta. And the Kroger had cakes for sale with designs celebrating Juneteenth. Juneteenth is now the new federal holiday that celebrates the elimination of slavery and the freedom of the former slaves. And one of the cookie cakes says June 19 free. The other says free at last. And the other simply says free. And the creator of the TikTok video is very upset, said it's bull bleep. Who the hell made this ugly bleep bleep? Said there were no managers around at the time, but they planned on returning to the store. They felt like that the store did not do enough in terms of celebration. Well, here's my thing. If I'm walking through Kroger and I see a cookie cake and on the cookie cake it says free, well, right? I'm taking the cookie cake. That cookie cake is going home with me because
for no monetary exchange.
Right. If I see one that says June 19 free and I look at my phone and it's June 19, well, I'm going to do the same thing. If I see one that says free at last, I'm going to think, yeah, at last. They're giving away cookie cakes at Kroger.
The cookie cake's about to go bad, so it's
free at last. Because it doesn't last. I think we're nitpicking just a little bit, if I do say so myself. In the meantime, it is the 50th anniversary of one of the greatest films of all time, in my humble opinion. And here's one of the greatest monologues from one of the greatest films of all time. If you've not seen it in a while, if you don't remember it, my goodness gracious, I waited just long enough that I think Ken Weaver's going to be able to hear it. It is Quint's speech regarding the USS Indianapolis. If you've never seen Jaws, shame on you. The sheriff, Chief Brody, Hooper from the Oceanographic Institute, and Quint, the shark hunter, are all on his boat, the Orca. And they're sharing stories about their scars. And Chief Brody asks Quint about one in particular.
What's that one?
What?
That one there, on your arm.
Oh, well, it's a tattoo. I got that removed. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Mother. What is it? Mr. Hooper, that's the USS Indianapolis. You were on the Indianapolis?
What happened?
Japanese submarine slammed 2 torpedoes into her side, Chief. He was coming back from the island of Tinian to Leyte. Just delivered the bomb, the Hiroshima bomb. 1,100 men went into the water. The vessel went down in 12 minutes. Didn't see the first shark for about half an hour. Tiger, 13-footer. You know that when you're in the water, Chief? You tell by looking from the dorsal to the tail. Well, we didn't know. Wish our bomb mission had been so secret. No distress signal had been sent. They didn't even list us overdue for a week. Very first light, Chief. Sharks come cruising. So we formed ourselves into tight groups. You know, it's kind of like old squares in a battle, like you see in a calendar, like the Battle of Waterloo, and the idea was shark comes to the nearest man, that man he starts pounding and hollering and screaming. Sometimes the shark would go away. Sometimes he wouldn't go away. Sometimes that shark, he looks right into you, right into your eyes. You know the thing about a shark, he's got lifeless eyes, black eyes, like a doll's eyes. When he comes at you, he doesn't seem to be living until he bites you. And those black eyes roll over white, and then you hear that terrible high-pitched screaming. The ocean turns red, and in spite of all the pounding and the hollering, they all come in and they rip you to pieces. You know, by the end of that first dawn, lost 100 men. I don't know how many sharks, maybe 1,000. I don't know how many men, they average 6 an hour. On Thursday morning, Chief, I bumped into a friend of mine, Herbie Robinson from Cleveland. Baseball player, bosun's mate. I thought he was asleep. Reached over to wake him up. Bobbed up and down in the water. It was like a kind of top. Upended. Well, he'd been bitten in half below the waist. Noon the 5th day, Mr. Hooper, Lockheed Ventura saw us. He swung in low and he saw us too. A young pilot, a lot younger than Mr. Hooper anyway. He saw us and he come in low, and 3 hours later, a big fat PBY comes down and started to pick us up. You know, that was the time I was most frightened, waiting for my turn. I'll never put on a life jacket again. So 1,100 men went in the war. 316 men come out, and the Sharks took the rest June the 29th, 1945. Anyway, we delivered the bomb.
One of the greatest monologues in the history of cinema, the USS Indianapolis monologue presented by Robert Shaw as Quint in the film Jaws, which is 50 years old today. Changed the face of cinema, created the summer blockbuster, and was the original summer blockbuster. Earned over $100 million that summer. Incredible. Hey, it's time for a break. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, folks. Matt Murphy for Savory Spice. Savory Spice is located in Franklin. They've been there for quite some time, right off the square next to Gray's Pharmacy. I encourage you to go say hello to Holly and David. Oftentimes, they're the owners, by the way, of Savory Spice, and you'll see them in the shop assisting customers just like you, finding the right spices or seasonings for just the right flavor. If you're looking for something in particular and you can't find it at the less than spice shops, you need to get to Savory Spice because odds are they've got it and they can get it if they don't. Plus, they have all the great grilling flavors for the summertime. Did you know that today is the first official day of summer? It's true. Today or tomorrow is the longest day of the year. One way or the other, a lot of grilling going on in and around Middle Tennessee, and it's time to grill with the best. Grill with Savory Spice. You up your food game, friends, by upping your spice game. And like I like to say, you up your spice game at Savory Spice. Go see them, say I said hello, and maybe stock up for the summertime or for the just because with the one and only Savory Spice. So I've got fun facts from the movie Jaws. We'll finish up the show that way. Also, your telephone calls. Anybody want to get in here? 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. If you have any last-minute words for my left shoulder, now's the time to get them in. Words of wisdom for the left shoulder of Matt Murphy that will be no longer on my person, on my body. I don't know if it's possible, but if it is possible that I get to keep my left shoulder, I'm going to.
Bring it in.
I mean, I will. I assume they'll clean it for me if they let me keep it. You know what I mean? I assume. Maybe I shouldn't assume these things. Maybe they'll give it to me all nasty.
Dirty shoulder.
Just a dirty, bloody, nasty stump of a gross shoulder. 1733 says, here I am driving down the freeway listening to Quint's monologue and remembering the whole scene vividly. That movie is why I won't get in the ocean even to this day, and I absolutely believe it's one of the best monologues in a movie. No, it is. I can't think of many movie monologues that are better than Quint's monologue about the USS Indianapolis. And it also happens to be largely a true story. Now, in the past, I've looked up Herbie Robinson is not a real person as far as anyone can tell. While some of the records are a little janky in terms of who died and who did not. You know, he mentioned Herbie Robinson, baseball player, bosun's mate. You see, you got to remember when Jaws came out, it was 1975, 50 years ago. What happened with the USS Indianapolis was only 30 years old. In other words, it was like relating to something that happened in 1995 today. So the people that went through it were very, very much still alive. And the people who went through it, I mean, obviously, you wouldn't want to name them by name in a movie, so they probably made that up. But for the most part, there's some inconsistency with numbers. Some say it's above 1,100. Some say that there was 317 that got pulled out, not 316. But one way or the other, man, oh, man, that is it's a pretty powerful moment in that film. What a great movie, too. And apparently it's coming on NBC tonight, starting at 7 o'clock, and I'll probably watch it uninterrupted by commercials. Tell your shoulder it should have done better. Surgery sucks, but you got to do it. Good luck. I'll be listening to it listening to you when you're back on the airwaves. Thank you. Sandra writes in and says, you can make a pot of soup, Matt. Oh, that's ugh. She's talking about my shoulder.
Shoulder stew.
It's disgusting, Sandra, but thank you for the idea. She also said that I won again. By the way, I won again.
No shot.
I got a sympathy vote.
I demand a recount.
I'll give you the recount while Ken does the news. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Are angels real? Have you ever heard someone say, I used to be a Christian, but not anymore. After all I've been through, God wasn't there for me. Here's what the Apostle John said in the early church about false teachers in 1 John 2:19, about those who leave the Christian community. They went out from us, but they were not really of us. For if they had been of us, they would have remained with us. But they went out so that it would be shown that they all are not of us. Essentially, the Word of God is teaching what the true spiritual condition really is of those who walk away from their faith, that they never had true faith in the first place. Their true spiritual status is that of a false Christian. And when I say spiritual status, I mean Christ-like status. People who think they are Christians, thinking they are saved, but actually aren't, either believe in a false gospel or were false converts who never intended to follow God's prompting to accept Christ. There's no such thing as a used-to-be Christian.
So you get a lot of diagnoses when it comes to your European car. I mean, you've probably experienced that in the past, unless you get to Eurofix and you just get the right diagnosis to begin with. But let's talk about that. There's a lot of diagnosis out there. When you get diagnosed for a European auto repair, before you do anything, if you've not already gone to Eurofix, go get a second opinion at Eurofix before you make that major decision. You know, Eurofix is the home for second opinions. And before you spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on European vehicle auto repair from a diagnosis, it can not only save your vehicle's life, it could save you a lot of stress that ruins your weekend. Life's too short to get stressed and angry. Be happy and go to Eurofix. That from owner Aaron Stokes. At Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty. You get free loaner car with every repair appointment, and you don't get pressured to do something you don't need to do. You get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection with every visit. 100 Oaks, Franklin, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX. Or go to myEurofix.com. Folks, Men of Valor is a wonderful ministry, and I am so proud to be able to tell you about them. I'm proud to be associated with Men of Valor and exactly what they do for Middle Tennessee, really for all of the state of Tennessee. They're in all the prison systems in Tennessee. They're offering ministry to men truly in crisis, whether they know they're in crisis or not. The bottom line is this, that unless men have a change of heart, a change of focus, they will come out of the prison system in the same mindset that they went into the prison system, and that is a mindset of being a taker from their community, whether it's a taker of money in the form of theft, a taker in the form of grabbing money from the public largesse or from entitlement programs or whatever it might be. We want givers in our society, and Men of Valor ministers thousands of men on an annual basis, and they create that spirit of being a giver through the power of discipleship, through the power of Jesus Christ. They have an army of staff and volunteers that minister directly to the incarcerated by the way of the Bible study, discipleship, and the like. Do you want to volunteer? Can you volunteer? Or perhaps you can give as you can to Men of Valor. I encourage you to do so. Look it up and find out more at movministry.com. That's movministry.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Final show for Matt Murphy's left shoulder. We'll get to Thomas and Betty here in just a second. A lot of you on the phones, or a lot of you on the super text line as well, offering me the best of luck. I'll try to keep you posted as best I can. I'll be checking in with Chris Hand from time to time over the next week. So just to signpost for a minute, I'm out for the week. Jackson will be here, holding down. Don't let Hand break it. You know what I'm saying?
Excited to work with Chris.
Oh yeah, Chris.
I
is
met
a
him
good
yesterday.
Guy. He's a great guy. He'll do a fabulous job. I appreciate him sliding into the afternoon time slot for the week in my absence. Never fear, Brian Wilson will be in from 9 until noon. I think that was a part of, I want to say that a Cabana wife told Wilson that he could never miss dinner again after he retired from the afternoon shift. So I think Wilson's doing middays for that purpose. And then and Chris Hand is sliding in to the afternoon shift from 3 until 7 o'clock. So I'll be checking in. Hand has asked me to do a medicated Murphy moment. I don't know if that's what we're calling it or not, but you know what? I won't know one way or the other. I won't know what the hell we're calling it because I'm going to be medicated. I'm going to be on Oxy for the first week. So what do I know?
Oh, those are going to be fun to bleep.
I have never, I don't think I've ever taken an OxyContin. I mean, let's put it this way. I think I would know if I've taken an OxyContin, and I don't remember taking an OxyContin. I've taken like a hydrocodone before, but never an Oxy. But for a week, I'll be on those pain meds. The process is to go in Monday at about 11 o'clock. It's an afternoon surgery out by rush hour, I suppose. Home, pain block in place, meds, ice. Everybody says ice is my buddy, ice is my friend, and I'm getting a couple of recommendations. One, Grant, my good buddy Grant, and another from my good friend Debbie down in Columbia said, get one of these. It's an ice machine where you put ice in a little compartment and it creates a cooling system, and then it pumps ice up to your shoulder area or to your knee, or depending on what you need that ice on. So I'm looking into that. I probably should have looked into that like a week and a half ago, but I'm looking into it now. Amazon's my friend in that regard.
Amazon will get it here.
I'm sure they will. By Monday? Come on.
It's Amazon.
It's Amazon. It'll be here. If I ordered it now, it'd be home before I got there. Hey, Thomas, what's up?
Man, I'm calling about your shoulder.
What do you think, man?
I got both of mine replaced. I had the first one in 2013, second one in 2015. Word of advice on your therapy when you start doing your exercises, there's one that you have to put your hand on the wall with a ball in between that and the wall. If they say do 10 reps, do 20, buddy, because it'll make a world of difference in recovery.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that pump you're talking about the ice, you put ice in it and water, and it pumps circulated cold water over your shoulder. Yes, it does work.
I'm looking into those as we speak.
But just don't leave no boogers on the microphone.
Unjustly accused, Thomas. Unjustly accused. How about that?
I thought Dan said you done it.
No. He immediately. So here's the thing. I'm getting a lot of that. Mandis immediately blamed me, and then thankfully Mason Fleming, who was on the board for him that day, went back earlier in the day, and they saw where during his show it was not there, and then like in another segment it was there. So it clearly came out of Dan's nose.
All right. Well, I'll get on him about it.
Get on him. Call him on Monday and tell him that he owes me a big-time apology, a booger apology.
I'll do that. And I'm going to tell you right now, I had called you before one time about the seat belts.
Yes, sir.
You won't be seatbelt on that left shoulder for a while, partner.
I bet not. I'll just have to risk it for a while. Thomas, thank you for the call. You're very kind with your words. Betty is next. Hello, Miss Betty. How are you?
I am doing well, Mr. Murphy. Just wanted to call and tell you that I have been and will continue to be praying for you for successful surgery and complete healing. And just remember that your recovery is really in your hands by how well you do with your physical therapy. So, but we're praying for you.
Well, thank you.
You be blessed and take care, okay?
Oh, thank you, Miss Betty. Yeah, very kind. I appreciate those words. And yes, I get it. You know, I look at it as an opportunity. One of the reasons, and I think I've told this story, but, you know, if you don't know what happened, it was, what year is it? I was still with Crawford Broadcast. So this would have been probably 05, 06. So that was about 20 years ago. I was playing in a softball league, and my fat butt, I hit a ball in the gap, and my fat butt thought that I could stretch a double into a triple. And I should never, looking at me, I should never think these things. But I did, and so I did, and I saw the ball coming in, and I dove for third base. And when I did, I jammed my shoulder and dislocated my shoulder. I mean, it was bad. I mean, it was awful. It was huge pain, massive pain. Had to pop it back into place right there on the field. And then, of course, I'm out for the rest of the game. And I'm out of commission for like a month. I mean, massive swelling, pain. E told me, go to the doctor. Would you please go to the doctor? And, of course, I didn't. I was 30 years old and stupid. Just rub some dirt on it. It'll get better. And eventually it did get mildly better. But since then, I've had problems with it. Well, ultimately, I learned what I did was I hurt the labrum in the process of dislocating the shoulder. And in doing so, I destroyed that level of cartilage between my ball and my socket. And that created arthritis. The arthritis slowly but surely got worse and worse and worse and worse until such time that I started creating bone. And now I have what is known as a goat's beard. And that is causing additional pain. In addition to the arthritis is like a 3. I've just learned to deal with it. It's like a 3 every day. Whatever. My shoulder hurts every day. I don't know a day where my shoulder doesn't cause me. And it's not bad. I'm not woe is me. It's just, it's sore and it hurts every day. But it goes from like a 3 to a 10 like that, depending on how I turn it. And I've learned not to use it in certain ways. I've learned not to stretch it. And so I'm losing range of motion, range of mobility. But what the final, and Betty kind of hit on it, what the final nail in the coffin was my desire after the age of 50 to do more in terms of I call it forced exercise. For a long time in my life, you get enough exercise doing yard work, you get exercise, walking the dog, you get exercise in your daily routine. I've never been good with gym-based exercise, or what I call it, JYM, gym-based exercise. Did I say J? GYM, gym-based exercise. But I know that I need to start doing more of that to keep my strength up because you lose muscle mass as you age. I couldn't do it because my shoulder wouldn't let me do it. It would pop, it would hurt. And I'm like, I've got to do something about this. Went to the ortho, talked to him about it, and eventually the orthopedic said, look, the bone issues are not going to get better. They're just going to get worse. There's not really a lot that we can do about it outside of just replacing that part of the body with a ball. Your socket looks good. We're not going to have to replace the socket. but we will put a plastic piece on top to act as a barrier, the labrum, if you will. So we're going to alleviate the arthritis. We're going to alleviate the bone spur. We're going to alleviate the goat's beard. And you should be good to go. I asked him about length of time. He said, look, a lot of times the studies that you could have an experience where the plastic starts wearing at 12 to 15 years, and you have to consider replacement there. He said, but those studies are a little tricky because we're using better plastic in 2025 than we used in 2020. We were using better plastic in 2020 than we used in 2015. So the studies you're getting in from 2010 on shoulder replacement, it's not fair to compare that plastic to this plastic because they're not comparable. Does that make sense? So he said, best case scenario, you don't need this thing you don't need to touch it for the rest of your life. Congratulations. Worst case scenario, in the next 15 or 20 years, you might have to go back in there and do something a little bit different. One way or the other, I hope to get at least that minimum of time in a relatively pain-free fashion. So I'm excited about it. A lot of you said, Dave writes in and says, had rotator cuff surgery on both shoulders. Good luck with the shoulder replacement. Do the exercises the physical terrorists tell you to do. The good thing about oxycodone IR is that what they give you, you can take Tylenol and Advil on top of it now. If they give you Percocet, that has Tylenol. Yeah, so I think they're taking me home with like 4 different pain drugs. And one gentleman, a pharmacist, said it's not actually OxyContin, it's oxycodone. And I don't know. I thought I heard the word OxyContin, so if I'm saying it wrong, I apologize to Mr. Pharmacist out there. Maybe Jim says maybe after your shoulder surgery you'll play golf better. I made reference to this earlier. The problem is I suck at golf. I love it.
It's fun.
It's fun. I have a great time. I love riding a golf cart, drinking beer. But I had a ready-made excuse, right? If I'm on the golf course with Jackson and I'm playing like crap, Jackson goes, "What's wrong, buddy?"
You can blame your shoulder.
I'm blaming it. Shoulder's flaring up, man. What happens when I got the titanium thing?
You should be hitting the ball further.
Maybe I can convince him to give me some sort of spring action in there. Know what I mean? Jason said the first day of physical therapy was hard, but it gets better every day. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. Best of luck to you, Matt, on your shoulder surgery. 9860. Well, let me answer what you said, 90. I'm not going to read what 9860 said about what I'm not allowed to do for 2 weeks. Let me just say that I'm glad it's my left shoulder and not my right shoulder. And that's all I'll say about that.
We're covering all the bases here today, aren't we?
You know what? I'm just trying to get it all out before I'm out for the week. One final segment to come on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy here for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Listen, folks, a lot of men need the Tennessee Men's Clinic in their life, and some men need it more than others, and some men maybe don't know it quite yet. You know, a lack of T-level or a loss of T-level can affect men in many different ways. And if your T-level is dropping, you might notice it through a lack of energy, motivation, or drive. You might notice that you don't have the desire to go to the gym or do the workouts or even to do backyard work. Or perhaps it has manifested itself in the bedroom. If you lose intimacy in your relationship, your romantic relationship, that can be debilitating. It can be life-changing. It's time to get back in the game, man, with the Tennessee Men's Clinic. One appointment, and one of their qualified urologists will contact you. A professional and discreet appointment will follow either in Cool Springs or in their office in Midtown. And they will give you lab work at the time that you go in, and they'll get results that day. You don't have to wait on this. So if they see a noticeable drop in your T levels, for example, they can work on a plan right then on the same day that you come in for your initial consultation and visit. That's pretty speedy. We love seeing it. Give them a call at 615-208-9090. 208-9090 or online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Are angels real or a figment of the imagination? Angel means messenger. Angel or angels are mentioned over 350 times in the Bible, and because all Scripture is God-breathed, we know that angels are real and were created to glorify and to serve God. When Joseph doubted how Mary became pregnant and that she was to give birth to Jesus, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream. "Do not be afraid. The child within her has been conceived by the Holy Spirit." Angels bring God's messages to people, protect God's people, offer encouragement, give guidance, carry out punishment, patrol the earth, and fight the forces of evil. But there are also bad angels. Satan is an angel of high rank and led many angels in a rebellion against God. Although angels are powerful, they are not to be worshipped. Learn more about good and bad angels by scanning the QR code.
Thank you so much, all of you on the YouTube chat. You're very kind. I appreciate each and every one of you. It's a crazy YouTube chat every single day. If you're not over on the YouTube chat, I mean, it's not for the faint of heart. I would tell you that. You better be ready for it. There's a lot of interesting viewpoints and a lot of interesting commentary that goes on over there. Bless you. You know what? I'm a little disappointed. I've only gotten, I don't ask for them enough. I only got, how many? 41 thumbs up today. That's not enough thumbs up.
Need more thumbs up.
I need to talk more about it. I'm gonna make a list of things I need to do better on the radio show while I'm away. But I'm gonna be making this list while on a large amount of painkillers. So
Can't wait to see this.
So this list should be, you know what I want to do better? Nothing. I'm awesome. I rock the boat. Speaking of rocking the boat, Jaws later on tonight is, everybody's calling Jaws a horror film. I don't think of Jaws as a horror film.
What genre would you put it in?
Thriller.
Those are interchangeable.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I just, maybe.
It's kind of a monster movie.
I mean,
the shark is the monster, which would put it in that genre.
Sure, I get that. I failed the audience because I had 26 incisive. See what they did? Incisive facts about Jaws that you might not know. Like Steven Spielberg got the role of director in Jaws based on his 1974 film Duel, which was a television. I think it was a made-for-TV movie, which featured a maniacal trucker facing down against a mild-mannered driver. Dennis Weaver played in that role. Jaws doesn't fully appear in the film. The actual shark doesn't appear in the film until 1 hour and 21 minutes into a 2-hour movie. But it was the anticipation of the shark that made the tension and the buildup all the better. The reason it wasn't shown is because the mechanical shark wasn't working. They planned on showing the shark much earlier in the movie, were unable to do so, so they had to find inventive ways. Like, you remember the barrels that float to the top?
Yes.
They did the only reason the barrels exist, and I thought the barrels were a master stroke. The only reason they did them is because they couldn't get the damn shark to work, and they needed people to know that the shark was there.
The shark's on the fritz again.
Gene, the shark's on the fritz. Jaws shooting was supposed to be 65 days. It ended up being 159 days. Amity Island, Amity means friendship, was actually Martha's Vineyard. Just a lot to know about the movie and one of my favorite feature films. Thanks again to all of you so kind in your words. I appreciate you. I'll let you know how it's going through the course of the week. And hopefully we'll be back not Monday, but the following Monday. I'll be doing a week from home as home recovery continues that following week. As long as I'm off the pain meds and I am able, I'll be doing a radio show coming up next Monday. I love it too much, and I love you guys too much. I do love you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of our day and allowing us to be a part of your day. For Jackson Williams, for Ken Weaver, and the rest of the crew, have a great weekend, folks. Hug your loved ones. So long, everybody.